It's the final countdown tonight as we head into the deciding round of the SimGrid Sprint Cup Season 3. Tonight, here at Suzuka, there's a war of kings as the number 16 team of XL Racing are looking to steal the crown away at the last possible moment from BMW Team G2 Esports, who look set to carry it over the finish line with 2 wins under their belt this season. It's been a championship mostly centred around Europe, but tonight we head to the picture-perfect surroundings of the Mie Prefecture and the legendary Suzuka circuit in Japan. As we get ready for our grand finale tonight, just 18 points separate first and second place, which means that everything rests on tonight's result. Good evening everyone and welcome to a very special night here on the SimGrid's YouTube channel. I'm David Christie and alongside me, ready to rock the night, is none other than the man himself, Mr. Alex Goldschmidt. Alex, another season comes to a close and this one has really raised the bar, hasn't it?
Yes, we're at one of the 2 circuits alongside Fiorano that only has a figure of 8 designation in its track layout. This circuit opened back in 1962, architected by the legend that is Mr. John Hugenholtz, actually approached by Soichiro Honda, as Honda actually owned this circuit. This track just 400 kilometers south-southeast of the capital city of Tokyo. It's going to provide some thrills and spills, and over the past 60 years, this has provided more than its dynamite share. And tonight, David, the season finale of Sprint Cup is going to be one that we will never forget.
Without further ado then, let's get a close-up look here at the track here in Japan. We've got a Lexus Hot Lap coming up.
We're on board the Lexus RCF GT3 on a hot lap here at Suzuka, heading down towards first corner at 6th gear at 263 kilometers an hour on the speedo, down through the first couple of right-handers down to 2nd gear. And now we're going to head into the S complex. So it's a combination of brake, throttle modulation and precise steering input. So you're trying to carry the momentum through all of this, anywhere between third gear, anywhere between 140 to 160 kph. Even you can see that the drivers had to drop down into 2nd at some point as we now go through Dunlop, building the speed and the acceleration up to 5th gear now as we head towards the first of 2 Dagners, down to 4th gear at 170, now down to 2nd at 113 kph as we run a little bit wide coming out of the 2nd Dagner, through into the right hand sweeper that brings us into the hairpin, all the way down the gearbox into 1st gear, slowest part on the circuit, 60 kph, and then you start to power out of the corner up to 3rd, now up to 4th, bouncing off the rev limiter through 200R as we head towards Spoon Curve. Keep the car as tight as you can to the right hand side before then braking down into 3rd, but then you've got to drop down into 2nd for the next part of it and then carry the momentum swing all the way through, allow the Lexus to drift to the right hand side and now onto the back stretch before some of the most iconic complexes here at the Suzuka International Racing Course, 3.608 miles long. And now we head into the iconic 130R. Slightest lift off the throttle, dropping about 20 kilometers an hour of speed, but still going in there at full pelt, all the way down the gearbox into 1st, through the Casio triangle, through the right, then through the left, and then the final corner known as last curve. You start building the speed up to 3rd gear, bounce off the rev limiter up to 4th, hug the wall on the right hand side, and that's a hot lap here at Suzuka.
So 3.6 miles is what is on offer tonight here in Japan. The track looking very, very dark as we start at 4:40 in the morning. Currently in qualifying, Alex, a wonderful circuit as you mentioned through that awesome track guide. But I mean, this is just an absolute stalwart on the GT3 calendar, is it? It's so many points on the track that are going to be at issue tonight. None more so possibly than possibly Casio Triangle. You've got 200R and along the back stretch as well. Very fast circuit and lots of overtaking opportunities tonight. I've got to be honest, I really do fancy the BMW.
Yeah, the BMW in free practice earlier on was actually on the pace, and considering the fact that Niles Noyox, who for the final round will be joined by Arthur Camera, they have 30 kilos of ballast. They were not that far off of Grip Hacks Engineering's Jonas Salvalainen, who was at the top of the timesheets, actually in the high 147s. So the pace is there, but we've seen Noyox and Camera really come to fruition. Obviously, the first thing was Snetterton. We had that massive turn one incident going through into Riches, and out of it came Noyox and Camera, and they took the opening win. But then it was one of those seasons that was so topsy-turvy, I didn't even know whether they were going to be in for a fight, in for the fight. But with 2 firsts and a second place, they're one of 3 teams that have secured victories. Last time out, it was UGO 40s, OG 47 with George Boothby and Niels van der Kelt. They're down in 4th place in the standings. And Taro with Season 2 champion Alaric Henselin, partnered with our most lovable neighbourhood Iranian, Mr. Amir Hosseini. They're down in 10th position. But XL Racing by Renvelten, who look to have a lineup change tonight. No Maximilian Volmuth, because Tom Heyer steps in alongside Felix Ruppert, and what's more, no Jardier this evening. Valentin Barrier, I think, has gone to do some voluntary work in the French army for 4 weeks. So Honzik not able to attend tonight. We've got 4 teams, which is Zenith Esports and also we've got Vortex Esports that just has Alex Johnston running solo. No Hamada Ekweezy with Luke Whitehead, so Whitehead's got a lot to do tonight, along with a new entry in the form of Carbon Simsport in the 720. Michal Nowakowski will also have to serve 10 seconds in the pit stop before the car can be worked on. And what's more, look at the time, David. I mean, 4:45 in the morning. The visibility doesn't look to be as bad as we might think, but I'd like to see if we could get an onboard, maybe say with Niles Noyox, for instance, on just how much visibility they actually have. It's not as bad as I would have thought, really, for this time in the morning.
Yeah, it's fairly light as dawn starts to break here in Japan, and I'm going to be honest with you, Alex. I'm glad I got my sleep in, because we pretty much need it at this time of the virtual day here. It really adds a different dynamic here through qualifying as well, because we've seen it during the day and during the late afternoon and the likes, but qualifying the virtual morning, especially for those drivers who are in VR, makes it a very, very different prospect whatsoever, because you do have to concentrate. You do actually find yourself getting a little bit more tired in these nighttime or darker stints. Just to bring up to speed on the points as well, because we have obviously mentioned this is a 2-horse race between BMW Team G2 Esports and XL Racing by Renvelten. Now, mathematically, that's not actually the case. Mathematically, there's several teams that are within a shout of this, but I mean, what you're going to have for that, Alex, is of course BMW Team G2 Esports and XL Racing, both of them not scoring any points. Now, granted, that means that I think they only have to finish both of them outside the top 15. But I mean, it is such a long shot. I think it's a case of we'll maybe cross that bridge if it comes up, but for just now, it has to be all eyes on the number 16 and the number 62.
Yeah, there is an outside chance for Black Hawk Racing with Sasha Glatter and Chris Severa, if memory serves me correctly. They're 37 points behind Noyox and Camera. So don't count your chickens before they hatch. I think, the Nissan, obviously, yes, we are on Honda territory. I don't think we've actually got any Hondas at all. No, I don't think we have. No, we haven't in Season 3. And plus, we're at a Honda-based track as well, owned by the corporation. But, yeah, Sasha Glatter out for qualifying. We've always seen that the Nissan sometimes can be good at some circuits, when it comes to quali, and others it struggles, but then its race pace really brings a different dynamic altogether. So I would think that Sasha Glatter and his teammate Christopher, they'll push like crazy, guarantee you that much. and whether something happens to BMW Team G2 Esports and Excel Racing by Henvalten is anyone's guess, because we've got a 90-minute race. There is a 10-minute mandatory pit stop that opens when we get towards that pit stop window, which will be at 50 minutes to go, and then with 40 minutes remaining, the pit stop window will close. Tyres must be changed. If both drivers don't compete, it's a 130-second time penalty, so if they're not able to do the driver swap and one driver has to stay in, that's going to compromise them big time. But if it is a solo driver in for that team, it is only a 10-second penalty, and that's before the car gets worked on. Some fearsome parts on this circuit. Obviously, the Casio Triangle, the scene of when both Senna and Prost came together in '89, and then a year later, going through the first corner, they came together again, and that instantly decided the championship for one late Ayrton Senna 130R. You know, we could see people going round the outside like Alonso did on Schumacher back in 2005. But that's a very different proposition, because that's Formula One, and we're here with GT, GT cars. So something like the equivalent would be like Super Taiko or Super GT GT300. And already Salvalainen, David, is on the 157s again, a 157.876, and Niles Noyox looking rather handy in that BMW, just under 0.3 of a second adrift.
Yeah, that's a really, really good lap time gone in just now. But the other question is, where's the number 16? The answer is down in 14th place right now. So Tom Rare in that number 16 right now, trying as much as he can to hold on to it, but they're going to have to do something better than that, because at the moment it's all looking good for the BMW. Just a little bit about Suzuka. We obviously saw your track guide there, Alex, and for me personally, again, like everything else in this little course competition, I'm really not that competitive in terms of lap times and stuff, but this is one of the tracks that I really, really enjoy. That first section is amazing. If you can hook it up right and you do learn it, it feels so good, because the car, it's so smooth, it just drifts from, say, you go around the first corner, then you're going through Snake, then you go through the anti-banked curve, and then up through Dunlop. If you can nail that, it feels so satisfying in the car. So it's a really, really great fun track to drive. Maybe not so much when you come up to the hairpin and 200R, because I get that wrong quite a lot in Spoon Curve. It's so easy to try and take a little bit too much speed, be a little bit too greedy on the throttle into there, and that really costs you for that section along backstretching towards the Casio Triangle. But I mean, again, one thing that we've always seen through this season is the close nature times, and given that we've got 13 cars almost within a second, although Florian Becker in the 111 for ElferSpot.com up into 12th place there, that's a good result for them. But I mean, again, going back to the times, it's difficult to see anything but the 62 right now, because they're doing everything they need to do. Granted, we're not writing off the 16 just yet, but the 62 has put themselves ahead of so many cars, and thinking about it as a risk-based exercise, they've kind of neutralised any risk that's there.
Yeah, it's sort of like having the, like if it was a tennis game, you'd have, if it was a, juice, definitely BMW Team G2 Esports have the advantage on the serve. And that's going to be the key point. But the other key point is, how are Raya and Ruppert going to respond? Because they are within they're in a window of opportunity, but also the biggest thing about this circuit, going through into the first corner, then into the S's, before heading into Dunlop, you've got to nail that right. As we see Igor Ogorodnikov come across the line, goes P3 on a 1 minute 58.434. Lada Sport Rosneft, recent winners in Split 1 for the SimGrid VCO World Cup for the Thrustmaster 24 Hours of Spa-Francorchamps. This is where you've really got to put the package together. You've really got to nail the lap. Okay, there are opportunities to overtake. Spoon Curve, incredibly deceptive, just like you were saying earlier on, David. It's basically like a double left. The first part of it, you have to really sort of modulate the brake and the throttle. You then carry the corner speed coming through the second part of it, and then accelerate down the backstretch. So having a figure of 8 track to be our season finale just has spiced up that ante that little bit more. As Noyox gets even closer, he's just put in a 158.089. That is just over 2/10 off of Jonas Salvalainen from Grip Hacks Engineering in the 77th. And at the moment, Alex Johnston from Vortex Esports, running solo tonight, is 3/10 up. That could put him in the top 5.
Certainly could. And yeah, Alex, you just said something there that in all my time looking at Suzuka I've never actually realised. I never actually realised that it was a figure of 8 track, because of course it crosses over itself halfway round and just after Degner, and it goes underneath just after the backstretch there. So yeah, you learn something every day, don't you? Yiger Ogorodnikov, now that is a little bit of a spanner in the works. I wasn't expecting that, because obviously, look, we know, as you said, from the Thrustmaster 24 Hours of Spa, he's got incredible pace. That team, the 41, just sensational pace, but he's right beside your championship leader, and he is not a man, neither is his teammate of Grigory Ivanov, shy from a little battle there, and you better believe they're going to want to stick their nose into second place. So yeah, I'm going to be very, very interested to see how that goes. Vasily Onufriev is up by about 2/10 at the moment. That would be enough to take him into that third place as he comes through Casio Triangle just now. He's looking good, 3/10 up at the moment. He's starting to lose it a little bit just now. Might be enough to get him up into 4th or 5th though, but it could have been so much better for Vasily Onufriev. It is still third place though. 4/10 of a second behind. So Pavlis here for the Carbon Simsport Blue team. He's on an improved lap as well. What can he do? Up to 6th place there. 2/10 of a second improvement, but Niles Noyox is happy with that. 2/10 behind. Alex, we have to take a second though to talk about that ridiculous lap time from Grip Hacks Engineering from Jonas Salvalainen. 157.876. There's just, I'm telling it right now, there's nobody who's going to come even close to that.
Yeah, well, I've just heard that Novakovsky is just up by half a second. That could put him into the top 3 or 4, maybe actually ahead of Onufriev, who kept, through the last sector here at Suzuka, kept that 3/10 improvement going as Novakovsky heading down the backstretch into the left-hand sweeper here at 130. They're going to be pushing around about 235 kph as Salvalainen puts it into the pits. Now through into the Casio Triangle. And this is one of the more trickier sections to really circumnavigate, David. And it looked like Novakovsky absolutely nailed it. He's going to come across the line. Now, this will put him at least maybe into the top 5, and goes across the line, P3, 3/100ths ahead of Vasily Onufriev, who now drops to 4th position. But Tom Hyer, I'm keeping my eyes on that number 16 XL Racing by Renvelten car as Mooney goes up into 5th in the 777 Sim Racing Masterclass. And to be honest with you, that time is fast running out. Time's quickly ticking away. Luke Whitehead 4/10 up, and it looks like he might have just ended up. He's just invalidated his lap, so he could have put himself way up into the mix. Remember, they were leading at one point, both he and Hamada Erkwizi, before everything started tumbling down after Hungaroring, because they finished 22nd at Zolder. So yeah, Tom Hyer's got some work to do.
He certainly does. Very good evening to everyone that is in YouTube chat tonight, especially Hypersonic Monkey Brains, who's asked, what game is this, and is it more advanced than Forza? So this is Assetto Corsa Competizione, as some of the people have already answered in YouTube chat. Yeah, this is one of the most advanced GT3 simulators that is out there. The developers, Kunos, have got a very, very strong business working relationship with SRO, who obviously run the most popular GT3 championships that are out across the world, giving them access to things like the sounds, the data files from the car, the setups from the car. So you'll find a lot of GT3 real life drivers actually use this for driver development in terms of practicing tracks and things like that. And SRO have got plans with their real life competition in that as well. So that's why we here at the SimGrid focus on Assetto Corsa Competition. And of course, one of our key founders, Dave Perel, the man behind it all, is a GT3 racer and has a very close relationship with both Kunos and SRO. So there you go. That's up to speed with everything in just a couple of seconds. 1:30 left to go in qualifying left here. It's Suzuka for the Sprint Cup Season 3, Round 6. And Alex, I don't know about you, but I can't believe we've already had 5 of these incredible rounds so far. And it's shaping up already that this is going to be an absolute barnstormer of a finish.
When you get a championship coming down to the wire, that's what you want, David. And as they say, time is always fleeting. And this this season has gone quicker than I can probably snap my fingers in slow time at the minute. But Van der Velde, I just heard from Sidemax Motorworks, is about 4 tenths up at the minute as he comes through. But he's just lost quite a few tenths, probably at the hairpin, which has actually been coined Kobayashi corner. But Noyox, I've just heard, is winding up the wick on that BMW. He's gunning for pole position with around 30 seconds on the clock to go. And here he comes. Oh my goodness, this could be a bit of a fly in the ointment, but I think it could be close between him and Salvalainen for pole position. And Sasha Blatt has just improved as well. He's gone up to 12th from P17. So I'll be interested with the race pace, but yeah, Noyox, he was gunning for it as we've had a yellow flag out at the first corner. That is George Boothby, I believe, in the 47. But now the time has hit 0, David.
Oh man, I can't believe how close Noyox was to getting into the sub 158s there, just 5/1000ths of a second out. But my big question, Alex, is where is XL Racing by Renville and Tom Rayer? That is just quite simply not good enough for the final round of the championship. It's a second off of the pace, which is still probably about 4 seconds better than I could do. But when you consider for championship implications, I just can't see how they come back from this. In fact, down into 16th now, it's a really tall order.
Yeah, well, Rye's just gone quicker by than Boothby. But Whitehead's now 3 tenths up, and he will head across the line. 3 tenths up, that will probably put him 15th or something. He goes 17th in the end of the session.
So there we go, qualifying is over. Most of the cars are into pit lane. We'll have some cars maybe getting themselves up into the top 5 or the top 10. Tinko van der Velde, though, about 4 tenths up just now. This could be huge. This could be a third place for the Sidemax Motorworks. Number 96 comes out of the corner. The last corner here goes across the line. What can Tinko van der Velde do? He's on place for third, but he only gets 7th. It all went wrong after Casio corner. Oh, well, that is qualifying done and dusted, Alex. And I'm just looking at the timing screens here. We have got 17 cars within 1 second of your pole sitter.
And the entire field covered by just over 2 seconds, all the way down to 27th position. We have had some teams not appear, unfortunately. Halp Racing team with Ben Hitz and Christian Leates, Amiga E-Racing with Enrico Truglio and Davide Branchini, obviously Jardier. But the big news is Tauro, no show tonight, unfortunately. It looks like Alaric Entelin and Amir Hosseini. And at one point they came into round 2 of the championship and decided to put the cat amongst the pigeons and take a victory at Misano. But Jonas Salvalainen with that early banker lap, the Finns could be on fire here tonight. But Noyox, I mean, just look, Rye's got a hell of a lot of work to do alongside Felix Ruppert tonight. But Luke Whitehead, to get that car up to 17th at the end of it. What if maybe the 404 of H3 Racing's Luke Whitehead might get into the top 3 at the end of the season? We saw what happened. It all fell apart at Zolder for Whitehead and Urquizi, and it's the what could have been situation. But now we really have to concentrate on the title dynamic tonight, that it's G2 Esports versus XL Racing by Henvelton, and I couldn't even be more excited.
It's that whole case of shoulda, woulda, coulda, isn't it? It's I love that term so much. It really accounts for so many different situations. But, ladies and gentlemen, as we said, we are just minutes away from going down to the starting grid then for our final race here in the SimGrid Sprint Cup Season 3, round number 6 here at Suzuka. And conditions as well are going to be a big question mark tonight, Alex. Obviously, we've seen a mixture throughout the season, but we'll talk about that in just a second. A reminder then, we have a fantastic offer in association with our brand new affiliate partners, ExpressVPN. Look after your safety, look after your privacy. Get 3 months free when you take out a 12-month contract at expressvpn.com/thesimgrid. That's expressvpn.com/thesimgrid. VPNs allow you to do all sorts of cool things, like watch your favourite shows from different countries, and you can check all that out. As I said, head over to the site and get 3 months free when you take a 12-month contract. So conditions, Alex, tonight. What are we thinking?
I think if it's going to be cold, the biggest thing is that the pit stop is going to be crucial. Getting those tyres up to temperature, especially with the potential amount of degradation that these tyres could suffer, or maybe overheating, because you look at it going from out of last curve from the Casio Triangle. There are all the cars, and you can see 13 degrees Celsius. It's cloudy overhead for the next 30 minutes, and it's 5 in the morning. It's going to be cold. There's no wind. They really need to get a good start and get into a very, very good rhythm, because if you come a cropper through the corners after the first turn, that's where your lap really comes together, because it's sort of like your third gear, 150 to 160 kph. You're constantly just using the momentum of the car, and you're slightly going uphill before you head into Dunlop. Then you've got to really put the brakes on going through the second part of the Degners. Named after Ernst Degner, who was a famed motorcyclist that raced with Yamaha back in the day. He had a massive crash there back in the early 60s, which meant that the corners were named after him, not posthumously, because the bloke actually walked away from the incident. Going up to the hairpin, another tight section, but if people are going to be brave, probably the best thing to do is to get into the slipstream coming out of Degner 2, going into the hairpin, and then use the carrier momentum, maybe swing the car out wide, cut into the apex, and then try and get the run going through 200R, which I've seen used to good effect on Assetto Corsa Competizione. Spoon curve is going to be another one, and then of course the iconic 130R, the Casio Triangle, and you've got to put that lap together, and if you don't, it could be something that ends up being a bit of a downfall for maybe one of the teams tonight. I'm not too sure how the dice are going to end up laying when they've been rolled by the respective teams, but I'm looking forward to finding out, my friend.
Clouds overhead here at Suzuka. It's a dramatic weather pattern for a dramatic evening on the final round of the SimGrid Sprint Cup Season 3. And here is your grid then as we head down. It's Unisalv Leinen for the 77 Grip Packs Engineering on pole position from Nels Noyox in the 62. Your championship leaders in that BMW Team G2 Esports. It's then the number 25 that is in third place. That is Carbon Sim Sport alongside the 285 of Sidemax Motorworks. It's the 56 that is going to be in 5th position. That is Like and Subscribe Team alongside Zahir Essa in the 777 of Sim Racing Masterclass in 6th place. Lucas Kreuzer in the 96 Sidemax Motorworks machine alongside Igor Ogorodnikov in the 41 Lada Rosneft Magnum Racing Team. It's Thibaut Prost in the 99, that is in the GTWR RHG Academy car in 9th place. It's Damien Pavlos in the number 7 Carbon Sim Sport machine on 10th place. James Parker in the 699 Send It Racing Mercedes in 11th place. Then Chris Sever in the 81 Blackhawk Racing Nissan GTR in 12th place. Dan King in the 377 Dalking Community Car lines up 13th alongside the number 42 Vortex Esports car of Johnston. And then it is Florian Becker in the 111 ElfordSpot.com up in 15th place alongside Felix Repair in 16th place. In 16th place there in the number 16 car. I mean, that is the huge news from today, because they are the championship, they're championship challengers down in 16th, XL Racing by Renvelton. 17th place is the 404 H3 Racing of Luke Whitehead. Then you have got in 18th place Neil van de Kekel in the number 47 UKOG machine. It's then Robbie Stapleford in the number 22 Zancho Rocket Esports machine. The 289 of Maximilian Vidi in the Virtual Drivers P8 TX3 Ferrari. It's 911 Jean Kaush in 21st position. That's a GTRC endurance team. Nathan Cavello Costa in the 33 Ferrari for Zenith Esports. In 23rd position is Patrick Pignon in the Rutronic E-Racing Audi. And then you have got in 24th place Christophe Verstappen in the 214 NSN Racing outfit. It's in the Ferrari of Manos Gerardis in the 86 TF Racing. The 26th place is the 36 of Jack Noller in the Ferrari of GT Omega RPM Esports. And the Lexus at the back of the grid is Keck Sim Racing and Jan Kaminski. So there we go, Carsway on their green flag lap, Alex, and everything happens tonight.
Yeah, as you said earlier on, a big reference to obviously the band Europe, thanks to War of Kings in the final countdown in your opening monologue. Well put, my friend, I must say. Also, some news for you people out there. The Kyalami series has just been opened. It's a short mini-series across the month of June. It will take place at the Midrand-based circuit in the Gauteng province of South Africa. There'll be 5 races from Thursday the 3rd of June through to the Thursday the 17th of June. There is a small entry fee of $9, but each split has a prize pool of 30% of the split entry fees, which is then split between the top 3. The first 4 races, there'll be 2 half-hour races, so Lamborghini Super Trofeo, Lamborghini Huracan GT3 Evo, that will be races 1 and 2 on the 3rd of June. The GT3 Porsche Cup and the 718 Cayman GT4, that'll be on Thursday the 10th, and then it'll be an open GT3 race with a custom BOP on Thursday the 17th, so don't forget to head to thesimgrid.com and you can also click on the link in the YouTube chat if you're interested.
You certainly can, Alex. So here we go then, round the final couple of corners then, as we head towards the back end of the track here at Suzuka. We get ready to go live for the final rounds of Sprint Cup Season 3 here at Suzuka. Niles Noyox really tried to set the cat amongst the pigeons here, tried to take that from Unisalvlinen in the 77, but it's all going to come down to the next couple of laps, next couple of corners, and how good a start that 62 can get.
Yeah, that's all what it's going to be about, because looking at it from this perspective, you've got a 6.2 litre naturally aspirated V8 pushing out 550 brake horsepower and 650 newton meters of torque. Then you've got a BMW that has slightly more horsepower but is on a 90 newton meters of torque deficit. But it's all about getting that traction perfect. And you can see that Niles Noyox weaving from side to side. And then also by using a combination of the weaving from side to side, that's going to build some temperature into the carcass, the sidewalls of these tyres. And also when you hit the brakes, that'll also put some more heat into that rubber compound through the alloy wheels that surround them. And now this is where crunch time happens, as they now head their way through towards the Casio Triangle. David, oh, it's nearly go time here at Suzuka.
Let's get going then. The cars coming round the Casio Triangle. It's going to be the two cars, the Uniself Leinen and Niles Noyox, that lead the field round for our final time this season. It is a long run down to the line here at Suzuka. The number 16 of Felix Rupert is going to have to absolutely get a move on, but don't discount Nowakowski just behind in that third place, number 25 machine. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We are ready to go racing here at Suzuka. We're very grateful that you've decided to join us tonight. As always, hit that like and subscribe button. But tonight, the final round at Suzuka is go. Green flag gets waved, and it's Uniself Leinen and Niles Noyox in a drag race down to the first corner here. It looks like Noyox is going to try and go right the outside at turn one. Look up the inside. That is going to be Nowakowski, who's going to try and steal that second place away. But it's all going to be on the run down towards that second corner there, down in towards Snake, and he's done it. Great move by Nowakowski, and that is not the start that Niles Noyox wanted, Alex.
No, and he's got Harry Spears and Raymond Mooney closing down on him at this particular moment in time. So, but the biggest thing is that Felix Rupert has started in 16th position in the number 16 XL Racing by Renvelten Ferrari, and they have got one mountain to climb. And this is where it's going to prove fruitful if they can get past quickly. But Mooney's now got Vasily Onufriev, and then look at the gap between Onufriev and Igor Ogorodnikov, who has got past Tinko van der Velde, and there's been carnage at the back. That is coming through. I think that's Degner too, and that is looks like one of the cars that was involved was the 911 GTRC car, and hang on a second, I'm just looking back there.
That's a 16.
That's Felix Rupert. Felix Rupert's down in 24th position. Oh my goodness, it's gone from bad to worse, and that's within the first 90 seconds of the race. This gives the advantage to Noyox, who just has to make sure he finishes ahead of that car by the end of the race.
Oh, you hate to see it decided like that, but that is the problem that I was trying to explain about earlier. You know, Noyox has a much smaller chance of that happening because he's got, you know, fewer cars around him up at the front of the grid. Fine, he's lost a place to Nowakowski, but that's absolutely irrelevant. It doesn't matter. All he has to do now to take this championship is finish and finish well, because it was always about that number 16 car getting ahead and substantially ahead of the BMW. But what a nice this could be, and this is shaping up to be already. But again, it's all on that BMW. Can they survive the next hour and a half?
You know what, the other thing I'm going to bring into the mix here, Sasha Glatter's currently 13th, well ahead by about 11 positions, so could this swing the pendulum for Black Hawk Racing to maybe pick up the runner-up spot in the championship? Stranger things have happened.
They certainly have. So we have just got ourselves underway for this final round of the Sprint Cup then. We've just got one lap in the books here at Suzuka. It is still currently Uniself Leinen by 0.6 of a second over Mikhail Nowakowski for that number 25 Carbon Sim Sport. The 10-second penalties coming in just now are not to be alarmed. It's fine. It's the 10-second penalties for solo drivers. Remember, this is a team race, so if drivers are driving all by themselves tonight, they will take a 10-second penalty in return for that. But the huge bombshell news just now is the number 16, the second place in the championship, Felix Rupert for XL Racing by Renvelten, involved in that lap 1 carnage with the 911, and has dropped all the way back to 24th position. I mean, it's all to do for now, but it's an hour and a half to go, and as you said, stranger things have happened.
Well, the thing is that qualifying in the mid-pack can really put you at a disadvantage, and that's what happened with the number 16. So an incident like that, as now Robbie Stapleford has Maximilian Verdi trying to go around the outside of him through 130R. I don't think anyone's doing an Alonso on Schumacher again through that corner, especially with the width of these cars when it's the Ferrari and a McLaren trying to go side by side, as Johnston is holding off Boothby going through the Casio Triangle. The McLaren trying to steal a march through, and he gets past. And you can see that Johnson's car has actually got a little bit of front-end damage as Robbie Stapleford nearly touches the left rear of that Mercedes with the right front of his McLaren, as now they're all scrabbling going into the first corner, and Stapleford's trying to launch it whilst Johnson's trying to keep it around the outside. Oh, they bang doors there, but Stapleford gets through, and this is going to start opening the doors for the likes of Nathan Covello Costa. Maximilian Verdi is behind them. Sheldon Muscat now up into 19th position.
Fantastic turn of events for Sheldon Muscat. We've seen him have a torrid season, a torrid couple of months actually here at the SimGrid. Great to see that bounce back, that recovery drive starting to come back, and I'm just going to stay very, very quiet on that one, Alex. I can't believe that literally just happened. To everyone watching on YouTube, I am so sorry for that. I think that has to be the worst ever case of the commentator's curse that I have ever seen in my life, Alex.
Don't you get me started on that, Mr. Christie. You've had a few clangers in your own time, and plus that was off screen, so that doesn't count.
But that just sums up the season that he has had. If there's calamity to be found, if there is somebody else's trouble that he finds himself into, that's exactly what happens, and it really upsets me, because Sheldon is... It's unfair for his reputation, because he is a fast driver, and he consistently has the pace to be in the top 10, and for whatever reason, it just... I don't know what he has done, but he has done something in a past lifetime that is coming to haunt his sim racing career just now, and I don't know, he needs to think of some sort of alternative ways to fix it. But Maximilian Verdi doesn't need to think about anything, because he's having a look up the outside in the Casio Triangle on the number 42 there of Alex Johnson, and that was a bit of a brave move if he thought that was going to work.
Yeah, I'm just keeping an eye on Alex Johnson's lap times. He's running in the 203, so that car has got a bit of damage on the front end. That's not going to help the aerodynamics, which are quite crucial here at Suzuka, and that's why he's dropping down the order. You can see that the fact that the misalignment on that front bonnet, on the bonnet to the front bumper, as we ride on board with Vasily Onufriev, who is closing on Raymond Mooney in the 777 Sim Racing Masterclass car. He's partnered with Zahir Essa from South Africa as they're going through the two Degners, and this is where the crossover, the figure of 8, actually happens. So you go under the bridge towards the hairpin, and then it's when you head into 130R, that's where the other crossover on this figure of 8 circuit is. But yeah, Vasily Onufriev looking rather racy, and the gap between him and Igor Ogorodnikov has gone, I think that's gone down to probably just under a second, or just over a second, because it's 1.2 at the moment, as Jan Kaminsky started down in stone dead last, and he's now closing in on Rutronic Esports Mark Baltzer for what is going to be 19th on the road. And yeah, this is coming through 200R. Great aerial shots by our broadcast director Mike Yao, as always, and going through into Spoon Curve, you can just see that the Lexus looks to be a little bit more planted on the braking zones, but the Audi with its 5.2 litre naturally aspirated V10 engine can gallop away in a heartbeat, especially down this backstretch and heading into 130R, as Verdi and Johnson nearly come to get very close indeed through 130R, and I think Johnson ran a little bit wide. Verdi's going to try and launch it around the outside into the Casio Triangle, but no dice there.
Oh, no dice, but there's all hell kicking off behind with the Audi and the Lexus just now. The Lexus actually taking that place from Baltzer there. Great move from Jan Kaminsky, just decided to absolutely send it into that final corner to take P19 away. Great move there. But also fantastic to see what's that. That's about 10 cars that are involved in a scrap for 14th position there. So fantastic to see that. That is Dan King that we're looking at the tail end of that group there. And this is one thing that I've always said time and time about these SimGrid races, Alex, is the fact that it doesn't matter if you're what pace you are. If you're at the tail end pace-wise of this leading group, or if you're at the bleeding edge of this group, you are always fighting for every single piece of track that there is to go. You've always got somebody in front, you've always got somebody behind.
Yeah, looks like Ogorodnikov has closed on Onufriev. As you can just see this gaggle coming through here, and a Ferrari going absolutely sideways, going through into the first sector, and you're taking that at about 4th gear at about 175 kph before you drop it down to 2nd for the tighter Degner 2. But now you can just see that. Look, this Alex Johnson is the cork in the bottle, and you're seeing drivers like, for instance, Darren King trying to get past Rob Taplin, who has gotten up a couple of positions. Tinko van der Velde all the way down in 25th as Vasily Onufriev trying to go around towards the outside and clashes. Doors goes straight on the outside of 130R, and he keeps it out of the barriers. Nice save by Vasily Onufriev, but that has cost him not just times but positions. And look at Luke Whitehead. That means I think he's now up into the top 10 as the 404, and he's running solo.
And that's a fantastic, fantastic effort from Luke Whitehead. Another man running solo is, of course, I believe your championship leader. Excuse me, no, ignore me. Back to the action at hand, though. I mean, as I said, this is now for 20th place. 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd are all absolutely knocking lumps out of each other right now. It's a case of drafting down to that first corner into that right-hander there. Oh, there's a little bit of a hip check there from the 214. That's going to be on Signakis there, and that allows, I think, Dan King possibly to get up the inside when they go through Snake here. But again, how much fun is this going to be if you're taking part in this tonight, Alex? This is going to be wicked, wicked fun to have all these really fast drivers around you. And it's going to go very, very quickly. These 45 minutes are going to go by so fast for these drivers.
Yeah, but then you've got the 4 teams that have got solo drivers in doing the full 90 minutes. And that, once they'll have completed the race, Sheldon Muscat has now pulled it into the pit lane, possibly for damage repair, I would say, for that incident earlier on that saw the number 36 GT Omega RPM esports car go off the road. So, things are really, really close. I think now that Noyox and Camera just have to get the car home. That's all they need to focus on doing, and try and keep the car up the order as high as possible. But then you look 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. You look between those 4 teams. There's 26 points separating them, and that means that the battle for 2nd position is very much on this evening. And I think the team that is going to be at the front of that train could, I'm just going to have a look at the moment. UGO 47, they've got Boothby behind the wheel, he's currently 14th. H3 Racing, Luke Whitehead is currently 10th. There's Tinko van der Velde, straight lines coming off of the Casio triangle, and it looks like the Lexus in front did as well. That could have been Jan Kaminski, so both of them having a bit of a gravel check right there. That's one thing you don't want to do at the Casio triangle, go straight on.
Oof, that is not what you want. Right, we've been asked in YouTube chat from Wave95, the gap at the front, Unisalv line has absolutely gone. He's just in another postcode right now. 3 seconds is the gap over Mikhail Nowakowski in 2nd place. So the Grip Hacks Engineering number 77 are way out in front, and only 12 minutes into the race has already built up a commanding lead. Meanwhile, this is the battle for 22nd and 23rd. Signakis trying to hold off Dan King there, but doing very, very well to do so. Meanwhile, up in front, Maximilian Vedi and Alex Johnson scrapping it out for 18th and 17th positions respectively. So I mean, it is all kicking off as well, and I'd be very interested actually if we could cut to the battle. We'll cut to that in a second. A little bit of a hit there from the 377 of Dan King. There's cars going everywhere right now trying to get round the exit of Spoon Curve here to get back on the straight and narrow, as it were. But oh my goodness me, you would never think this is an hour and 30-minute race. You'd think this is a 30-minute sprint race, a dash for the cash, as it were, and there's almost certainly going to be contact behind the cars there. That looks like Dan King and in fact, no, that's the Felix Rupert car trying to get its way past, and Jarno Kausch involved along with Tinko van der Velde. So Tinko van der Velde having an absolutely abysmal night tonight, going all the way back, and at least Felix Rupert trying his very best to catch back up to that field.
Yeah, very much the case, and Felix Rupert and Tom Hyer having a severe mountain to climb is now Robbie Stapleford. It's McLaren v McLaren going down the main straightaway into the first corner. So Stapleford sends it up the inside. And loses the back end. Robbie Stapleford kept trying to keep it planted around the outside, and the back end just stepped out to the left, and all of a sudden Robbie Stapleford was unfortunately a passenger right there and then.
Yes, that's not what you want to happen, and that's not what you want to happen either, Darren King. And that looks like, is that the Lexus that's involved in that as well? That's Jan Kaminski, and that's the world's most predictable accident right there. And I think Dan King just getting a little bit frustrated there. Now, there's the reason I got a little bit confused. I thought it was Niels Noyox that had the penalty there. It's actually Michael Nowakowski that is driving solo tonight. So it was my eyes deceiving me. So that was why I was getting a little bit confused there. So that's going to throw Nowakowski back to the wheels in terms of 10th position there with that 10-second penalty. But Alex, Unisalv-Leinen for Grip Hacks Engineering, nearly 4 seconds away already, and we've only done 8 laps. I just don't understand where he's got that devastating pace from.
Yeah, I mean, remember the comeback that they had at Misano, right in the low, mid-20s up to P5, as Mark Balzer has been flashing the lights at Alex Johnson, and Johnson is actually holding him up. You can just see how, again, he's flashing the front fog lights as if to say to Johnson, look, mate, you're holding me up. And Johnson's like absolutely dropped off the lap times right now. And yeah, it's not going to be easy for Balzer to overtake Johnson, because this is for 18th. And there is Rob Taplin, who goes spinning. Absolutely loses the back end, and he got caught up, I think, maybe in the turbulent air a little bit there, and got caught a bit unawares. And when you're in the dirty air of the car in front, what can happen is the back end can wash out, and all of a sudden, all that aero you've got on that rear wing literally becomes like nothing at all. So Rob Taplin very lucky to keep that out of the fence, a bit like we saw a bit earlier on with Vasily Onufriev. But yeah, the Unisalv-Leinen has absolutely counted off into the distance, 4.4 seconds, and Salvoleinen's running in the 1:59.4s, David. That car has got pure pace written all over it. But we've got 4 cars under investigation. We've got the number 31, the 41, the 777, and the 377. So the 777 will be the Sim Racing Masterclass car. Then the number 31 is going to be a little bit further down in the running order of things. So the 31, that'll be Mark Balzer. The 41, why did I just say that number out loud? Igor Ogorodnikov is under investigation as well, and then we've got the 377 of Darren King from the Dow King Community Car, which is right at the back end of that train. So we've still got 26 cars running, as Felix Rupert looking to get past Jarno Kausch. There have been a couple of penalties come through though. We've got a drive-through penalty for the number 31 of Mark Balzer for avoidable contact with car number 36 on the very first, on lap 3. And also Tinko van der Velde's got to serve a drive-through penalty. Failure to hold brakes on a little bit of contact between him and Igor Ogorodnikov on the very first lap.
Oh, well, that could have went so differently for the YouTube chat, couldn't it? Goodness me. Right, so drive-throughs then for car numbers 96 and 31. 96, I've got to be honest, that's unforgivable. Race control really don't take too kindly, and I know from personal experience how much of an earful they get in the pre-race briefing from our very own Michael Hamlet. So yeah, that's going to go down like a bucket of cold sick. An hour and 10 minutes left to go in this final round. around. Now, your eyes didn't deceive you. You were starting to see things getting a little bit spicy up at the front of the field, because Mikhail Nowakowski was not just fighting off Nars Noyox for second place, but he was also fighting off the rather rapid-looking 285 of Harry Spears in that St. Max Motorworks machine. So we'll cut to that whenever we possibly can. But this is still with Felix Rupert, because this is the story now. While all hell is kicking off in front of him, Felix Rupert, after that opening lap, is just deciding to take those places as he possibly can. Now, 2 laps ago, he was in 23rd place. He's now in 21st. So, again, it's this slowly, very, very patient run from Excel Racing by Ren Velton right now. This is what we've got to have a look at in the 96 in another accident just now. That is not really going too well for them tonight in, is that for Tinko van der Velde gets going on again. But yeah, look, Alex, this is starting to get a little bit tasty tonight.
Yeah, it's always the as we were talking about Felix Rupert, the story about the tortoise and the hare, definitely sort of showcasing itself with Felix Rupert trying to get past Rob Taplin. Also, I've just seen that Alex Johnston from Vortex has just been pinged for being under investigation. And here's the update. Well, we're just about to see the updated standings, hopefully very soon. But you can just see now that Vasily Onufriev closing on Charlie Crossland, and there you got GTWR R8G Academy's Andrea Benedetti holding the 49th position, and Benedetti is about 1.7 seconds behind. Onufriev, if he hadn't had that off at 130R, I think we could have seen him probably battling away with the likes of Noyox and Spears, who are currently about half a second apart.
They certainly are. The battle for second, third and fourth, half a second each between the 3 cars right now. And Bobby Childs on YouTube chat is getting a little bit sarky with the whole handing out penalties like Oprah right now. We've had 2 penalties, to be fair, but it is enjoyable when race controllers take an absolute tizzy fit and just hand out drive-throughs for everyone. That could be actually one of our fun Thursday night events where just like everybody gets a drive-through and they've got serve it as well. So I can hear Michael Hamlet furiously scribbling that one down on the old notepad as we speak. But just to remind you, as you see the 10-second penalties for various cars there, that is for drivers who are driving solo tonight in a dual driver event. So they get an automatic 10-second penalty. They haven't done anything wrong other than that. Rob Taplin, though, is trying to get a little bit fighty coming into Spoon Curve, though. He's got the number 16 of Felix Rupert trying to have a look as well, but he's also trying to fight the number 86 of Janis Saknis in that 86 machine, and it's looking like it could be done. Tries to fire it down into the inside. The 86 having absolutely none of it. The 16's getting a little bit too close for comfort. There's a little bit of slide from Rob Taplin there, but look at the 911 as well. Jarno Keisch thinks he's going to have a little go as well, and that could send Felix Rupert back another position, and this is not what you want to see coming down into Casio Triangle. Oh my goodness me, just a couple of corners away from that just now, and Felix Rupert takes a very strange jump in that car. I've got no idea what happened to the suspension there, Alex. Did you see that front end just dig into the ground and then go up into the air?
Yeah, I think 130R is really putting a bit of a difficult spin on things, because now Felix Rupert had done all that hard work and now it's come all undone, to be completely honest. Robbie Stapleford's now recovered. He's the McLaren meat in the Ferrari sandwich at the moment, because he's got Nathan Cavella-Costa and Maximilien Verdi to his front and to his rear at this particular moment in time. And now you're just going to, just sort of like looking at this shot here on our broadcast, just seeing how, you know, you've got to be metronomic through the snake and the S complex, otherwise you get that wrong. That really does screw up the rest of your lap. Yeah, it's just going to be interesting to see how people that have had off-track excursions. We're seeing Vasily Onufriev come back. Robbie Stapleford is trying to get back. Charlie Crossland is ahead of Vasily Onufriev, and now you look behind. Oh, I spot an alphaspot.com very pink and white Porsche there. Florian Becker trying to close on Luke Whitehead down the back straightaway, going towards 130R. So looks like there's one Porsche trying to fight its way into the top 10.
Well, they certainly are, and I'm looking at the standings here. Felix Rupert down in that 24th position. I've got to be honest, that is that it's looking at the moment like that is day done and dusted. With an hour to go, I can't see the events unfolding that they need to happen for that to all go wrong. However, there is a cracking battle for the lead going on. For second place going on right now, as Mikhail Nowakowski fighting off Naz Noyox, who now just 0.3 of a second, with Harry Spears close behind as well. So they are in a cracking little battle. But again, Jonas Alvalainen is now nearly 8 seconds to the good, and we're just 25 minutes in as Maximilian Vedi loses a place there to Nathan Cavello Costa. Cavello Costa there jumps up into to 16th place, just a couple of corners behind this little battle here. Charlie Crossland trying to hold off from Vasily Onufriev, and it's such a great track, this, because obviously they're going through Dunlop just now, coming down in towards Degner, and then on the run up towards the old hairpin there. It is honestly one of the most demanding circuits, isn't it, Alex, in terms of the fact you can't take your eye off the ball a second. You think even at backstretch here they get a chance to enjoy themselves, but it's just not going to happen, is it?
No, I mean, the thing is that within 10 seconds of coming out of Spoon Curve and going down the backstretch, you've actually got to refocus yourself and concentrate your efforts on 130R. It shares a bit of a characteristic with Imola, because you can't relax. There's turn around on Charlie Crossland, courtesy of Vasily Onufriev, coming out of the second part of Spoon Curve. Oh my goodness, I think that very much there could be a slam dunk penalty for the number 56 like and subscribe car.
Good, Vasily Onufriev, please report to race control. That is the message we're going to hear in about 15 minutes time, coming over the tannoy. Oh my goodness me, that is, we used the phrase slam dunk quite a few times in the past couple of months, and that is the Wikipedia page entry on slam dunk right there. But an hour and 2 minutes left to go here in the race here, the final race for season 3 of the SimGrids Sprint Cup. It's Dave Christie and Alex Goldschmidt taking you through all of the action. Here is the battle for second place, and it's kind of opened up a little bit. Whenever I kind of want to jump to it, I think it looks like they're going to be close, because obviously the timing screen says so, but again it just falls back a little bit. Confirmation of earlier investigations. The incident between cars 911 and 86 on lap 1 is a racing incident. The incident between cars 56 and 777 on lap 4 is a racing incident. So those cars no longer under investigation. However, there is the bombshell. That is the current standings at the moment. As long as you've got Niles Noyox in the top 10, he is going to be your champion for the Sprint Cup. Incredible stuff. The story of the day is that not only have they had a horrendous Suzuka, they've went from 16th on the grid to 24th on the grid. They dropped from 2nd in the championship, Alex, to 6th on the championship. In fact, that might even be 7th in the championship.
Yes, 7th in the champ. And Grip Hacks Engineering, out of all the twists on this story, David, now have put themselves in a net second position. The interesting thing is, you see where GTWR are, and you see H3. Luke Whitehead, if he can do a bit of a jump, as there's a moment for Kaminsky, that's going into the hairpin. New Nomex, please, for Jan Kaminsky. New Nomex, please. The thing is that if Luke Whitehead can jump maybe Andrea Benedetti in the pit phase, because Benedetti will be handing over to Francis Thibault Probst when the pit stop window opens, and that'll open in about just over 11 and a half minutes. If Whitehead can do that, he might be able to get into the top 3, even if he can get there on merit, as now Rob Taplin looking up the inside, going into 130R on Alex Johnston. And Ashton Cox, the issue might not be with the time penalty, because Benedetti and Probst have got a swap. As contact between Sackness and Johnston, and all of a sudden Sackness lights up the rear tyre, spins the Ferrari another 180 degrees. And again, I spy with my little eye, Felix Ruppert has been given a little bit of a lifeline.
Oh, I don't know about a little bit of a lifeline because this is all just all over the place. Firstly, that was a little bit aggressive from Rob Taplin on Alex Johnson. What a move from Rupert, though. Just absolutely mugged Alex Johnson. I mean, that is the equivalent in football of a nutmeg right there. Just straight through, like Johnson wasn't even there. And the Vortex eSport driver is going to be absolutely spitting mad right now. Jan Lokaish in the 911 is looking to make short work of Alex Johnson as well right now. But I mean, going back to that incident, right, that all started with Taplin and with that car that we're watching, Alex Johnson in the 42, right? For me, Alex Johnson was a little bit aggressive coming back onto that track. He was then alongside. Now, who was it? He was alongside. It was
Rob Taplin.
No, sorry, the white Ferrari. That was Sackness.
Sackness,
yeah. And again, the two of them were involved in contact that was going on there. And this here, just I don't get this. This is obviously Alex Johnson is ahead of the 911 of Jano Kausen. For me, Jano's not really being too aggressive in this, but Alex is just forcing things right and talking about going wide. Now it's Neuerks in a little bit of fighty fisticuffs with Mikhail Nowakowski. Oh, he's not having any of that, is he? Nowakowski is, and again, here's the question: why? I mean, I get racing drivers are going to race and all that, but he's in the lead of the championship, commandingly. Keep it safe.
Yeah, but the thing is that it's risk versus reward, David, and he wants to get the best possible. You know, I think Neuerks already realises that the victory's out of the question as Jan Lokaish closing on Alex Johnston. Neuerks will at least want to be second. That'll be 2 firsts and 2 seconds this season after 2 dismal rounds where they finished outside of the top 20. I think it's a case of maybe we mentioned the word patience at times, but that doesn't necessarily happen whether it's a 24-hour race, whether it's a 90-minute driver swap race like we got tonight. You know, any driver worth their salt will be going for broke, and they'll be going for glory, they'll be going for bragging rights. And to be honest with you, the over-aggressiveness of some drivers could actually not only be their downfall, but it could be a lifeline for certain drivers. Now, I'm going to come back to this brief point that Ashton Cox mentioned in the chat on YouTube. Yeah, he might have the 10-second penalty is where he's got to sit stationary before the car gets worked on. It's going to be a mandatory 30 seconds in the pit stop for a tyre swap, and obviously, depending on when Luke Whitehead pits, is he going to eke out that strategy that little bit longer and give him a bit of affordability as more dramas for Darren King there. That's going through the hairpin. So this 10-second penalty for Luke Whitehead for being a solo driver might not necessarily be a hindrance.
Oh yeah, and I don't think it's going to be as much of a hindrance as we see Jan Kaminski trying to fire it up the inside there. We go and watch Vasily Anufriev taking that place like candy from a baby over Florian Becker in that 111 car. Back with Jan Kaminski though, trying to fight Jarno Kausch here just now for that position. Dan King gets sent flying backwards. He's now in 24th place. This has allowed Felix Rupert up into the top 20 already. So that's a cracking little couple of positions for him. Very much needed right now, but look at that, the 911 trying to take on the Lexus of Jan Kaminski. They're going to go around the outside of Casio Triangle. Never ever going to work. He's going to have to slot back in, and the 999 can get a little bit of a breather in that Lexus. So just behind them though, that is Sackness and Dan King trying to fight it out as well. Dan King trying to hold on to that position, but I've got to be honest, I think Sackness might be able to do it. He does into turn 1, and that is going to be another position for Dan King. He is going to be absolutely fizzing at the end of his stint right now. Bring it back up to speed though, Jonas Salvalainen in the lead as we hit the half-hour mark here in the final round of the Sim Grids Sprint Cup Season 3. Absolutely out. He has got cruise control, he's got the aircon on, he's got the roof down. 1:59.838 and a 10.1 second gap over Mikhail Nowakowski, who's done a cracking job of holding on to the pressure for Niles Neuerks, who again pushing maybe a little bit harder than he needs to right now, given that it's the final round and they've got the championship sewn up as long as they can hold on to that position. And then in fourth place is Harry Spears, doing an excellent job. Really, really good pace on that Mercedes just now in the Sidemax Motorworks. It's then fifth place for Raymond Mooney in the 777 Sim Racing Masterclass. This is Jarno Kausch in the 911, still trying to fight it out, still trying to duke it out for that Lexus. This is, as I said, for 21st position. So this isn't even a position in the top 10. This is how hard the fighting is all throughout the field. So we'll come back to that in just a second. Yiga Rokorodnikov in the 41 up into 6th place for Magnum Racing. 7th place for Damian Pavlos in that number 7 for Carbon Sim Sport Blue. It's 8th place for Andrea Benedetti in the number 99 GTWR R8 Academy car. And then in 9th place is Luke Whitehead. Cracking effort from Luke in that 404 H3 racing machine. And then in 10th place, Vasily Anufriev in the 56 like and subscribe machine. And it's all kicking off again because Alex Johnson, again, the cork in the bottle is gone and hit the 911 of Jarno Kausch. Jarno Kausch absolutely mugged for that one. And Alex Johnson, I've got to be honest, is going to get in a lot of trouble. That's now several incidents. He saw himself with completely unneeded contact there. And I think he's just pushing that Vortex Esport machine just a little bit too hard.
And then some, David, and then some. But still, you want some battles, but you don't want anyone being haphazard. And there are going to be those that are going to be feeling that little bit of a slap on the wrist, courtesy of race control. So yeah, I can already see that there might be some more notifications, and there have been some more penalties issued. And here we go, 3 of them. Incident between cars 56 and 777, racing incident. That was lap 4. Incident between car 86 and 377. So that will be Darren King, and then the 86 car. That is of Janice Saknis. 5-second time penalty for the Dow King community car. For push to pass, or bump to pass as they say in Australian supercars. And the incident between cars 31 and 42 on lap 8, no further action.
Well, that's the first of many incidents I think that are going to be investigated here. But the thing is that the problem that Alex Johnson has is that the pace in that car is off. There's damage to the front of it. He's obviously down on top line speed, and you've got several cars behind him that are so desperate to get past. And you know, normally I would say fantastic defensive driving, but at the moment it's not. It's overly aggressive, and it's actually causing issues with other cars because he's causing contact here where it doesn't need to be done. Now this, where he's just placing the car right on the racing line where it needs to be, absolutely fine, not an issue with that. But when you start weaving across and, you know, deliberately pushing your car into other cars, that's where it becomes a problem. That's where it becomes really questionable driving standards that are going on. But this just now, I've got no problem with this. Alex Johnson at the moment right now doing a cracking job of keeping Darren King behind him.
Yeah, as Darren King now actually trying to go up the inside, going into the first corner. That's brave and then some. But Alex Johnson is going to run wide and opens up the door well and truly. So Darren King has managed to get through. I've just noticed that Luke Whitehead is within 9/10 of a second of Andrea Benedetti. And what's more, Luke Whitehead is over half a second quicker than the 99. So Luke Whitehead looking to make the move on Saknis into the barriers. Oh, that's just coming through Dunlop. So yeah, that car is going to be pulled into the pits. We did hear earlier on that GT Omega RPM Esports have had to retire the car as Benedetti is now being closed in on by Florian Becker, and there is Sasha Glatter. Now Luke Whitehead is in 8th position now. Vasily Anufriev has got past 2, so this could give the opportunity for Luke Whitehead running solo to maybe secure 3rd in the championship, despite H3 Racing after the first 4 rounds having been at the front of the at the stand, you know, the top of the standings. To be completely honest with you.
Oh, and there's been a huge change at the front for second place. Niles Noyox now up into second place. Mikhail Novakowski down into fourth place there. So that cork in the bottle has been released. And I'll tell you what, look at Yegor Ogorodnikov. He's not too far off of that battle as well. So we've now got 3 or 4 cars that are within 2-3 seconds there. Viday is off and into some sort of trouble on that final corner there. I'm wondering if he's completely stuck. The car looking really in a lot of trouble there, in a very precarious position. Maybe just wait until cars get themselves out of the way. But oh my goodness me, Alex, it's all kicking off with just what, about 10 minutes to go before our pit stops.
No, actually it starts in about 38 seconds. So with 50 minutes to go, the pit stop window will open for the 6th and final time for 10 minutes only. But Andrea Benedetti, I think, is now losing the grasp for the 99 from GTWR R8G Academy. The team recently signing an alliance with Romain Grosjean with the R8G squad, and now they're currently in 11th position. And Florian Becker, I have to give credit where credit is due to alphaspot.com for keeping that car where it is at the moment, and I'm looking forward to seeing whether that team can really push the car into the top 10. Pit stop window now officially open.
I'm looking at Luke Whitehead in that 8th place right now, and I'm wondering if he can get a top 5 out of this, if not maybe even a podium with the pace that car has got right now. He's got a 10-second penalty for sure, but the pace that he's got right now, I mean, that is scary fast as Andrea Benedetti, as you said, into the pits. It's going to be very interesting to see how many drivers do it. This is what happened then with Mikhail Novakowski just ahead of the G2 Esports. It was a little mistake on the exit of the corner here. Now what happens here is we've got 3 cars trying to go wide. It's going to be the G2 Esports machine just up the inside, as does the Merc, but we're still watching it, so I'm presuming something else happens here. And yes, straightforward, easily done, great moves there, and proof that you can get clean racing at the front here.
Yeah, I mean, the presence of mind from Niles Noyox to capitalise and put the car straight ahead of Harry Spears without any hesitation whatsoever just shows his mastery, and knowing this car on this platform as well. And then Harry Spears just literally slotting in front of Novakowski there. But look, Yegor Ogorodnikov is also on the charge, and last time around Ogorodnikov was over 0.3 of a second quicker. Now this is what happened. This is Stapleford, I believe, with Maximilian Viday, and this is coming through the final couple of corners. Oh, a little bit of rubbing between the pair of them, and then the car just rolls backwards, and one of the other Ferraris goes past. That probably might have been the 777 car. You can just see that car, its rear diffuser is stuck in the grass and in the dust. So, and Veddy's like lighting up the rear tyres as everyone, Rob Tapling goes past, Felix Repair goes past. Yeah, just like literally, that is not how Maximilian Viday wanted to come out of the Canzio triangle.
Oh well, I don't know what to say, Alex, because I was thinking maybe it was going to be a quiet and uneventful evening. Obviously, we had the title to decide, but I didn't expect any of this. Now, what has happened to the number 16 as well, again, of Tom Rayer, that is behind the wheel of that number 16. He's done a pit stop. That is what has happened there. So Felix Repair jumps out of the car, hands it over to his teammate. That might be a really clever thing to do, actually, given the dismal start to the race that they've had so far. Time to knuckle down, Alex, do you think, and just try and push things through here?
Yeah, probably just get a little bit more fuel on board that Ferrari and just see how hard that they can push. So Novakowski, Whitehead and Covello Costa, they're all in the pits. And I've just seen that Harry Spears has just had the magical letters DT, drive through, against his number on the timing tower. Oh, that's proved a bit of an interesting fly in the ointment for Sidemax Motorworks. So that must be for track limits being yeah, it might be for track limits, because Harry Spears has yet to hand over to Mr. Super Saturday himself, Marcel Fusi, but we still have 6.5 minutes for that, for the pit stop window. So we could see whether Spears actually hands over to Marcel Fusi, and then Fusi comes in, serves the drive-through on the very next lap, and then gets it out of the way and then starts pushing. We know how quick Fusi can be, and one of the interesting things is it me, or is Sidemax Motorworks in the 285 and Griphax Engineering using the non-Evo Mercedes? Now here comes Spears, he's going to pull it into the pits. Is he going to serve the drive-through penalty and then hand over? Because he could still do that, there is time.
There certainly is, and 45 minutes left to go in the race. I've got to be honest, I just don't know how this is going to pan out, other than, I mean, I think it's safe to say that the number 77 is just looking sorry, not the number 77, excuse me, your race leader in the Self line and doing a fantastic job. As I said, Griphax Engineering doing a brilliant job there. So, well, we'll have to hear, because I got a little bit distracted here because I'm hearing the mention of a potentially huge implication being mentioned there, but I'm not even going to want to mention that until, or at least any further, Alex, until we actually get confirmation, because like that sounds just too bizarre to actually comprehend right now.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, we'll wait until race control actually confirm that, but Thibaut Probst rounding out the top 15. Luke Whitehead is actually behind, but you can see that the wait for the chat to explode, because look at the 41 on the timing tower, drive through being shown, and here we see this is lap 1. So Ogorodnikov up the inside of Tinko van der Velde. Now this is going through into the Degners. Oh, that's not great. And Van der Velde just gets absolutely catapulted into the air by a couple of cars, and I don't know how everyone else managed to avoid him there, but I think Tinko van der Velde got off pretty likely in the 96, because now Lucas Kaiser's behind the wheel.
Well, no, he didn't, because he got a penalty for that not holding the brake. So obviously race control have been reviewing that incident and now have given a penalty for that incident. That's been deemed as a stop-go 30 for that one. Well, I'm presuming that's what it's for. And in fact, no, it's not. Of course, that's for speeding in the pit lane. So that is an unrelated event. Wow, that is. Yeah, that's a little bit confusing, I'll be honest, because I put 2 and 2 together, saw the stop go 30 and thought there's a replay there. It must be a late call from race control there, but no, speeding in pit lane, that's an uncharacteristic mistake this season from the Magnum Racing team.
Yeah, and it looks like the 377, well, is apparently getting a 15-second time penalty for an incident on lap number 13, but Cross... Yeah, it was all those have been served by now at the moment. But look, they're all starting to come in. So Onufriev will hand over. Stapleford will hand over to Buncombe. Oh, right. I've just been informed that a black flag will be brandished, and I'm now going to mention the number. It is 42. So Vortex Mercedes of Alex Johnson is going to get a black flag and will be disqualified.
Normally I try to have a professional, balanced opinion. 100% right call from race control. We'd seen it even some of the calls out in YouTube chat. I think that look, we get nights like this where we're just trying to push that thing a little bit too hard. That's all that's happening tonight. They'll be able to come back in another season, another championship, and it'll be a completely different run of events for them. It's one of those things, unfortunately. Race control have really cracked down on tolerance of behaviour and things like that, and obviously that's just outside their tolerance tonight.
Yeah, and with just under 2 minutes to go, the top 4 will make that 2nd to 4th have yet to pit. Noyox will hand over to Arthur Camera very, very shortly. Sasha Glatter from Black Hawk Racing, he'll hand over to Christopher very soon. As you could see, that is... Right, we're going to go to a replay here. Now, this is Alex Johnston in the 42, and that's coming through the hairpin. And... yeah, just seeing it come through. This is going through into 200R, and then we're going to see Spoon Curve very shortly, and that looks to be the 96 with possibly Tinko van der Velde behind, going through into Spoon Curve, and yeah, this is it's just going to keep. This is sort of like winding up and seeing what happens here. So Johnson runs wide, van der Velde to the inside, starts flashing the lights. And the number 42 was running in the 2-minute fours at one point in this race. So you can just see one move is acceptable, multiple moves are not. And yeah, this is where we're going to go to the Casio triangle and yeah, trying to go side by side. And look, just literally just cuts across the front of the 96. The 96 got no choice to avoid. And so it has been confirmed in the chat. Disqualification. That's a black flag for the number 42 for dangerous driving and unsportsmanlike conduct. And that right there, that is plain old weaving going down the main straight, the start-finish straight there, David.
Yeah, again, it comes back. We mentioned it a couple of laps ago. I mean, you can obviously get away with so much, trying to make that car as wide as possible and try to do a great job of defending there. But look, that just wasn't it. That was just outside the bounds of what is acceptable in sim racing. And in professional competitions like this, you can't get away with stuff like that. It just isn't going to fly. Now, what has happened there? I'm just trying to check on because Arthur Camera back up into second place. In fact, it's just because the pit stops have taken place and everyone's shuffled their way back round. So here Essa is in what looks to be is that third place? Is that a lapped car? I think it is. That is just in front of them there. So Kamara's still in that second place and 14.5, make that 15 seconds behind Jesse Kalpinen. What a job from 77 Grip Hacks engineering. I mean, hats off to him. It's been a stellar display.
Yeah, it has been. It's just one of those things where you just have to keep on pushing, keep going, and yeah. To be honest, Griphax Engineering, they'll become, what is it, the fourth different team to win around this season, as Michal Nowakowski coming up to the back of Konstantin Soldatov. And a good run here for like and subscribe in the 56. They're running P5 at the moment, and in terms of their races this season, just having a look on the leaderboard, and the like and subscribe team, they've had a best finish of a 7th, and that was all the way back at looks to be Misano. So they weren't around for Imola or Hungaroring, and did not start at Zolder. There were some issues there, I think, for the team, but to come back and find themselves in the top 5 with 38 and a bit minutes to go in the final race of the season, I have to be honest, yeah, Anufriev had his moments, but Soldatov's got the one being charged with bringing it home.
And that's all it counts with really right now, is that ability to bring it home. 40 minutes left to go. It's looking done, dusted, and certainly the championship from what I can see is looking like a safe bet right now.
Yeah, I completely agree. As we ride on board with South Africa's Zahir Essa in the 777, they've had an up and down season as well, and they had a 16th at the opening round at Snetterton, 8th at Misano, then a 17th, a 12th. And then right. I've just seen a drive-through penalty being shown for James Parker, more than likely for track limits there. So that will be from the system software. Sim Racing Masterclass hadn't placed outside the top 16 until the penultimate round at Zolder, where they finished P26. So yeah, I mean, it's good to see some of the other teams that haven't had the opportunity to showcase what they're capable of. It started to come to a bit of fruition here in the final race at Suzuka.
And that's just it. That's what we love about these championships, is that every race gives us, it's like a spin on a fruit machine, you know. Every single race gives us a different combination. We've had that tonight. I mean, we would never have thought that the Grip Packs engineering outfit of the 77 of Jesse Kalpinen would do so well. But I mean, Luke Whitehead on his own, still in the top 10. And you've got to say, I mean, he's got the pace to actually get himself even further up. But that Porsche as well, the 111, Richard Lindhorst taking over from Florian Becker, doing a cracking job as well. It's just one of the reasons that I love coming on to do esports comms tonight for the sim grid, because the level of competition is insane. The rivalries between the drivers is just on another level, and for the most part, with some exceptions, it is some of the most clean and intense racing that you will get on sim racing.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, we've had some really great close corner racing so far since I made my debut with the sim grid with yourself at the Silverstone British Classics in December of last year. There's been there's such great racing, and also qualifying, especially in what we saw today. Earlier on, 27 cars split by just over 2 seconds. That's absolutely mind-blowing, because it just shows the calibre, the amount of hours and maybe late nights and early mornings that these drivers really put in the hard graft. And for some people, it's a professional way of life being an esports or a sim racer. And the who's who we've got in this championship just really exudes what the sim grid is all about. Of course, people mentioning about penalties in the chat. Well, this is something that we've sort of looked at on many a time, you and I, David, that for people getting penalties, it is an opportunity to improve, an opportunity to learn and sort of improve gradually, because no one's perfect. Even us as commentators, we still learn, we still evolve, and it's the same for the sim racers as well. So there'll be some drivers thinking, oh, you know what I should have done. They'll be looking back, and hindsight is a wonderful thing. But they'll also I think it's just really a case that some people will come back stronger from this, and some people will continue to evolve. I've just been hearing that there's been some issues for James Parker, and it looks like the Send It racing car has unfortunately also retired.
Yeah, we'll come back to that in just a sec, as Lucas Kreuzer under attack here from Boris Desprez. Is Desprez? Surely not. Surely that's never... I was going to say, round the outside a spin curve, that's never going to happen. What a fire he gets out of that corner, though, alongside Lucas Kreuzer. The 96 is going to be a sitting duck coming up to this left-hander here. So, in fact, actually, sorry, this is spin curve here. And what a move from Boris Desprez. Absolutely beautiful. Virtual drivers for TX3 moves up into 20th position. So you spoke there, Alex, about taking moments like that and taking it on the chin and using it to develop themselves. And you know, this is the one thing that I find absolutely bizarre in sim racing, is the fact that, you know, drivers are actually almost making careers for themselves out of this. You know, so we see real life drivers and doing exactly what you would say. They'd have a bad race and they'll try and take what they've done wrong, what the positives out of it as well. And sim racers are doing that as well, as we see the live team standings here, confirmation of the incredible dominance for BMW Team GT2 Esports, number 62, but Grippax Engineering, the number 77, sneaking their way into second place in the championship. Never saw that one coming, did you, Alex?
No, that was definitely a curveball, wasn't it? I think the biggest thing here is that what Chris Sever needs to do is to get a wriggle on and try and catch up to Lindhorst, who's about 4.6 seconds up the road. He's got about 32.5 minutes to do it. But just looking at the lap times, Lindhorst is running in the 1:59.7s. Sever is way off that pace, so 2-minute 0.3. So that car, that Nissan, has been good, but it hasn't been good enough to the point where it can catch a Porsche that is the heaviest car on the grid.
That's the thing, is that in every other championship we've seen, that BMW has it's not been the pick of the bunch, has it? It's been the black swan of the GT3 choice here, and in this championship it's absolutely shone, and that is in no small part due to that driver lineup of Niles Noyox and Artur Kamara. We saw Niles doing incredibly well through other GT championships across this year, and again, just testament to how well they've got a grip on that BMW. This is going to be only their I think first, second place, but with 2 wins under the belt. In fact, no, sorry, excuse me, they took second place last time out at Zolder as well. So 2 first places, 2 second places, round out what's been a pretty fantastic season for them.
Yeah, very much the case, and it's really one of those things where they'll look at it and they'll go, yeah, we fought back. Noyox was very, very matter of fact when he spoke to you in the post-race interview chat back at Zolder. He said, well, yeah, we think that the BMW is going to work pretty well around Suzuka. Well, I think that was probably the biggest understatement of the year from Niles Noyox, and now that car is doing really, really well. He'll be talking all the time to Artur Kamara. Okay, the gap might be 15 seconds between the two, but in comparison with Kamara and Essa, the gap is just under 1.7 seconds. Kamara just needs to bring it home. He needs to do what he'll have the strategy. Noyox will be talking to him all the time, just motivating him, just saying, look, just keep it calm, keep it consistent, and just be a bit more precise. You've got another half hour to push, but not push too hard, where that might give an opportunity to Zahir Essa. And it's just really, it's always, when it's a team event like this, you're always going to talk to your teammate. You're always going to think of what's going to be the next strategy on the fly.
You certainly are, and I'm also a little bit distracted, if I'm honest, Alex, by the YouTube chat. We've got a cracking little debate going on between Tunkeris and Bobby Childs, who are debating the importance of setups within the GT3 community. And it's a great point, because obviously one of our main partners here is Coach Dave Academy, who do offer professionally developed esports ready setups for all of the GT3 cars and GT4 cars here on Assetto Corsa Competition. And the debate is obviously raging over, how important is the setup? Should you try and take that out? Should you try and just have a fixed setup and keep all the cards the same? And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether you have a fixed setup or whether you have a open setup type competition. You're always going to find drivers who are able to exploit and that's exactly the word I would use there, exploit both the car, the track, the combination that they're using to the absolute nth degree. I mean, you look at every single one of these drivers that are here in this grid tonight, right? For the most of us that take part in sim racing, these are absolute aliens to us. We cannot even come near to the pace that they've got. But just because they can do things with a setup, they're pushing the sim to its absolute maximum, and that goes across every single platform that there is. And we obviously refer to it as sim racing, but in essence, they're going as fast as the car can possibly go. In some cases, depending on the platform they're using, or the sim, or the car track combo, they're maybe doing things that a real life racer couldn't actually physically do in that car. So it's a sim to a certain degree, but again, I mean, the level of competition and the work that goes into the setups from all of these teams is on a degree that I don't think any of us in the sim racing world have ever seen before. And it is just so cutthroat right at the top. It doesn't matter whether, as I said, you've got fixed setups or not. The competition is always going to be there. We've seen that from the SimGrid. We've done fixed setup competitions with the Lamborghini Huracan, where it's they're in the one car, they're on a fixed setup and things like that. And we still get 10, 15 cars within a second of each other. It's just absolutely incredible.
Yeah, exactly. There's always those finite nuances, or those little trinkets of information that they're able to discuss between themselves. Whether it's like 0.5 of a PSI, or whether they need a bit of toe in or camber or whatever. the amount of finite adjustments on this platform. I've seen it on Twitch streams where people are going, yeah, I'm going to do my setup, and like the amount of information I see in front of me, I'm like absolutely flabbergasted, and that's a word I don't use often actually. Just how much of a real platform this is, in true terms of a simulator, and also with the way that these tracks, these cars, are very much as real as you will get on this kind of platform. And it's just a testament to the work of 505 Games and Corner Simulazioni that have done all this work and have really gone to town, and that's why you get so many people that are so ultra competitive, where we're seeing qualifying times and lap times in a race being separated by thousandths of a second. That's just really, really good.
Absolutely, and we could wax lyrical for hours and hours on end, but that is the simple fact. We are at the bleeding edge of ability and performance here in sim racing, and I've got to be honest, it feels really, really good to be part of that in terms of commentary. Back to the race though, 25 minutes left to go, and it is all just simmering away nicely as we look at Kirill Soldatov for like and subscribe. Racing in that Aston Martin. We've not really said much about them just now, but a cracking job to get themselves up into P5 just now, ahead of Mikhail Novikowski in that 25 McLaren. And I tell you what, Richard Lindhorst is looking a little bit racy in that Porsche just behind, trying to take over from Florian Becker in that 111 Elferspot.com. And you mentioned quite a few times about 20 minutes ago, Alex, about that Elferspot.com car, and again, brilliant job. But another man doing a brilliant job that we haven't spoken about at all is Blackhawk Racing's Chris Sever in that GTR. Again, like the BMW, like the Lexus, bit of a black swan in this championship, bit of an unloved car. We see maybe one of them, maybe two of them per championship, but a great top 10 finish for Sever in that Blackhawk Racing on the cards tonight.
Yeah, I did say just keep an eye out for them, and Sasha Glatter's done one bit of the half hard work, but now it's Chris Sever who's got to bring it home, and look who's closing in. The gap was just under 1.5 seconds. Luke Whitehead is gunning for Chris Sever, and you know what, Luke Whitehead, give him his credit where it's due. No Hamada Erquizi, who's been in the chat here as well, cheering Luke on. Luke Whitehead has done an absolutely brilliant job. He's kept the pace consistent. He hasn't gotten flustered. He's just trying to do the job at hand, and he's trying to get that car into the top three at the end of the championship standings. And 24 minutes to go. Look at the gap between Sever and Lindhorst. If Whitehead gets past, is there a possibility that Whitehead could get... He'll hopefully have a bit of clear air, which he does according to the track map. He could go after Richard Lindhorst and maybe get some more points on the board for tonight.
Well, it's always going to be an interesting thing to see, but as you said, I mean, Luke Whitehead there, he's just been so consistent, has he? He's had the pace and he's had the speed, and I've got to be honest, Sever looks absolutely toast right now. That GTR looks like it doesn't have a wing and a prayer to Luke Whitehead's prancing pony in the Ferrari 404. He's just been absolutely fantastic tonight in that H3 Racing black machine. Interesting to see if he can get the move done, because the GTR pulls away from it, but it does look like it's just going to be a matter of time. We've got a yellow flag. That's the 377 of Jan Willem van Ommen that is off for Dalking Community. So their night has just gone from bad to worse, and they're coming on him just now and pulling to the right hand side. And I've got a feeling that car has got big damage.
Oh, and that car is going to be limping itself home a little bit to going through 130R, as Whitehead and Sever still battling away. This is going through into the Casio triangle, and Sever knows he's the part of the main. He's the one that's really feeling the pressure, but Luke Whitehead just needs to keep it neat and tidy and try and just get a good run. Now, looking at obviously the torque differentials, it's not that much between the the Nissan and the Ferrari. The Ferrari has 700 newton meters of torque. The Nissan has about just shy of about just over 60 newton meters less. But Sever's keeping it ahead of Whitehead and is still doing a good job. So Chris Sever's soaking up the pressure. We know how good he is when the pressure cooker situation surrounds him, and he's holding off Luke Whitehead at this particular moment in time.
He's doing a cracking job at that GTR. Again, it's not like we saw earlier where he's literally having to hold him back by any means necessary. The GTR, I mean, it's holding its own. And all he has to do is just put that in the apex of every corner and jobs are good in. But, I mean, the pace of Luke Whitehead and the pressure that he's putting on him, I've got a feeling that we're going to see the GTR start to overdrive itself and start to burn through the tyres and make a couple of little mistakes. Certainly, I don't think Sever is going to be outgunned tonight, but I think Luke Whitehead has got the patience to make this work, and look, he deserves it, doesn't he? I think this is all he's going to get out of this realistically, but 20 minutes to go, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it's just sort of realistically how hard he can push and keep Sever under pressure. And I'm not too sure whether Chris Sever is going to keep ahead of Luke Whitehead, or is there going to be an unforced error due to the amount of pressure that Whitehead's putting on, as we're now on board with Richard Lindhorst. And look who's just up ahead, Michael Nowakowski and Konstantin Soldatov. So this is a real good battle. It's McLaren versus Aston Martin versus Porsche, and there goes Luke Whitehead trying to go and get the inside line through the next part of the Casio triangle. And has he got the job done? No, Sever's back up the inside trying to go through the final corner, but could the Ferrari in a straight out drag race get to the first corner first? Let's just see what happens here, but I think Sever could have the racing line going into the first corner. He does so. Oh, and Luke Whitehead had to narrowly avoid it because he got a little bit of a twitch on at the front, and Sever managed to keep the place. That was great defensive driving, but good racing room and racing respect from the pair of them.
Yeah, great awareness from both of them, but I've got to say, I mean, come on. Luke Whitehead, you cheeky little monkey, trying to send it round the outside of Casio triangle there. I mean, that is like the most brazen of overtakes, and to be fair, he almost had it, and he looks like he's going to try and have it in Dunlop as well, but it's not going to happen. Luke Whitehead tries to get the cut back, almost gets it done, thinks about the inside there. Oh my goodness me, what an amazing battle. We've got a little bit of door-to-door paintwork going there through Degner, through in towards the hairpin. The GTR closes off, and around the outside tries to go Luke Whitehead. Oh, this is brilliant. And do you know what? I absolutely guarantee you both these drivers are having an absolute blast right now, because there is no greater feeling. There's nothing worse than being on your own in the middle of like an empty track with nobody around you. And these two, this doesn't matter that this is for 8th and 9th. As far as these two are concerned, this is for the race win right here, because these are just the pair of them absolutely giving everything right now. 18 minutes and 3/4 left to go. And this is just awesome to watch.
Yeah, and Jorge Villa says about Sever's ping issues. We've had Mia Rose competing in more female races by Thrustmaster Rockets, which I think returns next week on Monday. Her ping is absolutely ridiculous, but hey, she's still competing. Little bit of a touch there between the pair of them going through into the Casio triangle, and I think Luke Whitehead did exactly the right thing. He thought, might have been a bit robust there. He tried to chance it, but as they say, once bitten, twice shy.
100%. I've got nothing more to add to that there. It's again, it goes back to that respectful driving from the pair of them, from Sever and from Whitehead. The pair of them know that this is a huge battle going on. You can see that server issue for Sever there. And again, the way that will manifest itself is that you'll see his car doing these odd little twitches, maybe in the middle of a corner. It'll maybe jink like 2 centimetres to the left and stuff, and that, Luke Whitehead, that'll be enough to put him off. He'll maybe not want to commit until he knows he's going to be able to fire it straight past that GTR, because he doesn't want to think he's done the move and then suddenly have the car glitch into him. It doesn't look too bad at the moment, so Sever absolutely able to hold his own, but again, the pace that Luke Whitehead has got in that H3 racing machine, he does make it look like it's a matter of time, but it's not a matter of time because Sever is able just to put the car exactly where it needs to be and hold him off. And I tell you what, right, here's another thing. Christopher, that last lap round, 202.811. Luke Whitehead, that last lap round, 203.141. Well, guess who's in 10th place? Marcel Fouzi, and he's doing 2 minutes flat, 0.3. He's catching these two up at 3 seconds a lap, and that gap was 5 seconds. We're going to have a 3-car battle for 9th place.
Oh, Mr. Super Saturday returns, even though it might be a Thursday night. But as always, Marcel Fouzi, no shortage of being able to entertain us here on the commentary side of things. And you can see that gap now just under 4.8 seconds. And Patrick Pignon is actually serving a drive-through penalty for contact between the 31 car and the 377 on lap number 31. We're on lap number 37, but Richard Lindhorst is again closing on Nowakowski. And Lindhorst last time around was fractionally slower, but was than Nowakowski, but Zolotov is actually the slowest out of this trio at the moment, but Zolotov in the number 56 Like and Subscribe car is still able to keep ahead in that Aston Martin. And David, I can't believe I'm going to say this, we've got just under 16 minutes to go. Has that time really gone that quickly?
It's absolutely flown by. It honestly has. 15 minutes left to go in the final race of Season 3 here at the SimGrid Sprint Cup. What an amazing race we've had. It has just gone by in an instant there. Jesse Kalpinen for the 77 Grip Hacks Engineering out in front on lap 36. 12 seconds to the good of Arthur Kammerer in the BMW G2 Esports team number 62, and doing everything that's needed right now to secure the victory in the championship. That's what it all boils down to for that number 62, because his second place competitor was the number 16, was being the word until about lap 1, where they went to the back of the field. Good recovery drive though from them. They're up into the XL Racing by Renfelten team, up into 14th place right now as Tom Rayer takes the wheel from Felix Rupert. But again, this is a brilliant little battle that we've got here. Kirill Soldatov ahead of Mikhail Nowakowski and Richard Lindhorst, but that battle behind Chris Sever, 0.2 of a second, now 0.4 of a second ahead of Luke Whitehead. That now means that Marcel Fouzi just 4.3 seconds behind that little battle as well.
Yeah, and closing. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how quickly Marcel Fouzi closes up on Messrs Whitehead and Sever, because that could be a really interesting three-way scrap for 8th at the flag. So I think your guess is as good as mine. How quickly will Marcel Fouzi catch? Well, the gap's now down to 4 seconds, David, and that's within the last couple of laps. And I've just heard that the number 31 car, that is the Rutronic E-Racing duo of Patrick Pignon and Mark Balzer, have unfortunately retired from the race. So yeah, real shame for them, and that means that we have 23 out of the 27 cars, I think, still circulating, because they've got Manos Gerardis, who's still out on the circuit going through the Snake Complex.
Again, just go back to the YouTube chat for the final time on the issue of setups as well. There was a little conversation there about the alien setups, and should the setups that are not realistic be outlawed, for instance, because they don't take like wear and tear. Well, that I think is never gonna happen. You know, it's not like we see, or it's not like we don't see real life racing teams pushing the boundaries of what they're allowed to do to the absolute extremes. In some cases beyond that as well. You look at Mercedes in F1 with their DAS system that was outlawed. You look at the Group B rally days, where there was the allegations of some teams running nitrous through their roll cage and things like that. You know, it goes hand in hand. It's the simple question: how bad do you want to win? How far are you willing to go to take that checkered flag? And in sim racing, where you don't have any penalties in terms of setups or in terms of, risk to the cars or anything like that, we'll come back to that in a second, because what a move by Luke Whitehead in the last race of the season. There you go. That is how you overtake. And from now on, Luke Whitehead, that is how you drive, my friend. H3 Racing. It has been an absolute barnstormer from them tonight. The one-man army that is Luke Whitehead in the 404 H3 Racing machine. Oh, and he almost loses it going out the first corner. That is a little bit of Tokyo Drift going round that corner there. He's going to have to be careful, because Christie has got the pace in that car to capitalise on any mistakes.
Yeah, that was very, very close indeed. But Luke Whitehead kept it, saved it, got back out on track, and keeps ahead of Chris Severe for the minute. Now the gap's nearly up to 0.7 of a second already, and he started pulling away. Now the gap between him and Lindhorst is now 15.5 seconds. I think that's going to be a bit too much of a tall order, but never say never.
He's got pace. Whether he's got pace to catch the 2 minutes, I don't know. We'll have a look, and I guess it'll just be a case of we have to kind of wait and see. I mean, looking at his times, the only time he went sub 2 minutes was in lap 2 and lap 3, where he had a little bit of clean air. For the rest of it, he's been hunting down in the 2 minutes, and that's on par with the cars that are in front of him. So he's certainly, at the moment, we'll see if in the clean air he can get a couple of storming laps in, but yeah, it's not looking too likely at the moment. However, as you said, never say never, because we know how much Mikhail Novikowski is struggling. I think he's pushing Luke Whitehead back a little bit with him. This is the battle for 20th position as Boris Despres tries to catch up onto the 911, the Porsche of Robin Pagadel, that is in front of him just now for the GTRC Endurance team. And Robin again had a bit of a difficult race as well. We've seen that Porsche really struggle, where we've seen Richard Lindhorst and Florian Becker having exactly the opposite. I mean, they've had a really, really good run through the season up into P7 right now, ahead of the charging Luke Whitehead. So again, it shows how the same car can have very, very different outcomes through a season, Alex.
And also, depending on who's driving the vehicle as well, because if you know that car inside and out, from front to rear bumper, and from roof to the underflooring, as Despres goes up the inside of Pagadel, that's through the hairpin, and they've got Lucas Kreuzer just behind. It looks to be a fairly clean move by Boris Despres on that particular occasion as they go through 200R, but the Porsche looking to come back at it, now heading into Spoon Curve. And Pagadel looked towards the inside, but decided to back out of it and thought, well, no, Spoon Curve's not where I need to make the move. I need to do it going down into turn 1, and needs to keep on the back of the 289, as we've now got just under 9.5 minutes remaining in the race and also in the season. And what's more, I've just noticed something here, David, that Artur Camara last time around was over 3.5 tenths quicker than Jesse Kalpinen from Grip Hacks Engineering. Gap now down to 11.2 seconds with 9 minutes on the clock.
And what is going to happen here? Because Artur Camara, I don't know. I mean, is Jesse Kalpinen, do you think, just starting to ease off slightly? Camara firing in the 159.9s. I wonder if Kalpinen's maybe just managing that gap right now. He doesn't need to throw the car up every which way that he can, but towards Idlo doing 159s, although dropping down to the 2 minutes as well, then yeah, I don't think it's anything to worry about with 8.5 minutes left to go.
Yeah, the other thing is Zahir Essa has actually gone about 2 tenths quicker than Artur Camara on the last lap. Gap now down between second and third is 1.1 seconds. And then you look at Novikowski with Lindhorst behind, and then Zoldatov just up ahead in the 56 like and subscribe Aston Martin. There are still battles to be waged, there are wars to be won, but Zahir Essa getting even closer to Artur Camara, and the gap's now down to 9 tenths. All the battle for second really heating up, and we're not that far away from the checkered flag.
have a look at this, because one eye that we've sort of taken off is Tom Rare in that number 16 machine in 14th place. He's now got Alex Buncombe up ahead in the 22 Zancho Rocket Esports machine, so doing a cracking job of actually recovering there. It just wasn't to be tonight for the number 16 machine, but my goodness me, they've certainly thrown everything that they possibly can after those lap 1 issues that they had. I mean, yeah, they've had a spirited drive, I think is the word I would use for tonight, and fair play to them. It's been a good effort that they've tried to throw in, but it's just not been enough to topple the 62 of G2 Esports, Arthur Kammerer and Niles Noyerts, who have just looked so good this season. I think it was 277 points that the BMW G2 Esports team were in the lead by. But again, it all comes down to these final couple of positions, because obviously with the race win, Jesse Kalpinen and Jonas Salvalainen, that puts Gripax Engineering up into second place, and quite comfortably by a whole point. As a little bit of contact from Tom Rare. If that was me, I'd be letting that McLaren take the place back. He does again. Yeah, that's unfortunate. It's one of those racing incidents, I think. 6.5 minutes left to go. Let's see if we can get the move done cleanly.
Yeah, and Alex Buncombe, very well known within sports car racing, will not make it easy for Tom Hyer, who has replaced Maximilian Volmels for this final round. And you can see now that the old psych-out tactics are happening, courtesy of Tom Hyer, on Alex Buncombe. And that's down the back straight going into 130R. The McLaren and the Ferrari turn in. And not too far behind, look in the distance, Belgium's Christophe Verstappen in the NSN Aston Martin, the 214, as Buncombe goes a little bit wide into the entrance of the Casio Triangle. And Nyon straight lines the first part of it, but still stays ahead. He didn't really gain, I don't think, that much of an advantage over Tom Hyer, but I think he's letting Hyer past, is he? Or yeah, not quite.
Yeah, I think that's what he's done there. Is he's obviously gotten an advantage of some sort there. You saw that he was about maybe half a second to 7/10 of a second away from where he was there. It's racing etiquette. I like it. He can try and do that. Maybe not like that. That's a shame for Tom Rare. Bad day goes from bad to worse in McLaren, and yeah, I think Alex Buncombe's going to get a very hefty slap on the wrist for that one. Silly incident, didn't need to happen, and yeah, just kept the foot in, took these Ferrari rounds, and that's thoroughly disappointing, really.
Yeah, it is one of those things that you don't like seeing, but then you've also got battles like this that have really come down to the wire, because Nowakowski, despite being on his own in this race, has done a really good job and is still keeping with Konstantin Soldatov. Richard Lindhorst just behind. The three-way scrap for 5th place with 4.5 minutes to go is separated by less than 8.5 tenths of a second as they fire their way through into T1.
Now, Alex, look at picture-in-picture. You picked up on that about 3 laps ago. Zahir Essa now half a second behind the 62 of Arthur Kammerer. So that second place might not be secure. In championship standings, it's absolutely, it doesn't matter at all. It's not a huge deal, but that's a bit interesting as well. I don't know if that's Kammerer falling off the pace. I think that's actually Zahir Essa just ratcheting things up in that Ferrari, and things starting to come to them with just 3 3/4 minutes left to go.
Yeah, Zahir Essa was close to being half a second quicker than Arthur Kammerer, and what Niles Norris will be saying, like, if he starts battling with you, you might want to let him pass, because they've got the championship secured at this point. Kammerer just needs to bring it home. Even if it's in 3rd place, we know that BMW Team G2 Esports will take the title irrespective of what has happened. You know, a real disaster, unfortunately, for XL Racing by Renvelden. But G2 Esports, they've definitely grabbed the ball with both horns and gone along for the ride this season. It's been up and down like a proverbial yo-yo, but they're literally just over 180 seconds away from the end of this race, and it looks like our leaders are going on to the penultimate lap of this race.
Here we go then, it all comes down to this, as you said, penultimate lap away to get going. Jesse Kalpinen has just looked fantastic through this race, but we're going to keep our eye on Artur Kamara and Zahir Essa for this battle for second place. They go in towards turn 1. This long right-hander at first corner, and then they come up to Snake through this left-right section. It's a very appropriate name for a corner, Snake, because it winds so many times here, and then into the anti-banked curve, which brings the cars round on the entrance to that long left-hander at Dunlop. Very easy to get this corner wrong, because again, when you're impatient like myself, too easy to get the throttle on too early and too quickly is the word I was looking for there, because you just point the car in a straight line and it ends up going wide over the left-hander down through Degner, then on the run down towards the hairpin here. But in picture this is Jesse Kalpinen coming through the circuit here. We've got 3 screens, so lots of action. That is Marcel Fusi, who's on to the back now of that battle. He was 4.5 seconds away. Thibaut Prost gets a drive through in the number 99. That's going to be for track limits then. I can't see anything from race control on that one, so Thibaut Prost is drive through. Niels van de Kekelt is fighting away as well. Marcel Fusi then onto the back of Sever and Whitehead. But this is in the main picture. You see Jesse Kalpinen in this picture bottom right. You see Zahir Essa and Artur Kamara fighting it out as well. But this is going to be the start of the final lap then for Jesse Kalpinen. And Alex, it's been an exemplary drive. It has been just a fairy tale start for them, a fairy tale finish, and they've made it look so easy tonight.
Yeah, the Finnish duo of Grippax Engineering, fastest in free practice, fastest in qualifying, and not just around about 3 miles away from securing what's called the Grand Chelem, where they pick up the clean sweep. But Marcel Fusi really looking to try and do a number on Chris Sever as they hurtle their way through into 130R. And look at the closing speed from Marcel Fusi, deep on the brakes into the Casio triangle. Well, he got a little bit of a sniff there, did Marcel Fusi, but Chris Sever managed to put shut the door in his general direction and not allow the Hungarian to get past. But now, in the slipstream, the Mercedes could have the run on the Nissan going into turn 1, but that's as long as Chris Sever does not open the door, which he doesn't do. And Fusi trying to keep towards the inside. Sever runs wide. Fusi up the inside and gets the job done.
Oh, that was some unlucky times there for Sever. And we see Alex Buncombe getting a drive-through penalty in that McLaren, and kind of didn't think I was going to see that one coming, because that looked like it is going to be for a incident between cars 16 and 22. Now that's the 22 that's been given the drive-through for that one. That is wow, I didn't see that one, because the 16, obviously, we saw that contact afterwards, send him sideways. Maybe that's for the one that happened earlier on, so I'm not sure, but we'll have a look. Anyway, your race leader coming through towards the final chicane, through into Casio Triangle for the final time. It's been an absolute exhibition drive from the Mercedes AMG GT3 of Grippax Engineering boys team. The 77 of Jesse Kalpinen lights up the beams and across the leads. Great win there for Jesse Kalpinen, but our attention turns to the number 62 G2 BMW Team Esports of Artur Kamara and Niles Nyox, who win the championship here at Sprint Cup Season 3. Hearty congratulations to just a stunning textbook season for the two of them. Huge effort. That means that Grippax Engineering secure second place, the most unlikeliest of outcomes for that team after that drive. And Alex, Zahir Essa gets that third place, but you've got to feel for Tom Rare and the number 16 team, his teammate of Felix Repair in that Excel Racing by Ren Felton. It was just snatched away at lap 1 for them.
Yeah, it was basically a case that the damage was done, and unfortunately Felix Rupert and Tom Hyer were fighting a losing battle. It was never going to come back to them. They did their utmost. It's dropped them outside of the top 4 as Niels van der Kerkhout comes across the line and also decides to slide out the rear end to the right-hand side. Ivan Shermatinsky replacing Grigi Ivanov for this round will bring the Lada Sport Rosneft car across the line behind Tom Hyer. But wow, what a season 3 here on the SimGrid for Sprint Cup. David, to be honest with you, as soon as BMW Team G2 Esports showcased that speed of that BMW, despite having 30 kilograms of ballast, I had a foreboding feeling that Noyox and Camera would take it at the final race of the season. But the benefit of that, we've had we've had 4 different race teams. So we've had BMW Team G2 Esports, we've had UKOG 47 Tauro, and now Grip Hacks Engineering Boys being 4 teams that have won races this season. Wow, is all I can say about this one, mate. And it's been a pleasure commentating alongside you for this season, for season 3, mate.
Absolutely, and like that is absolutely shared by myself. We say it a couple of times, right? We've said it through the season. It feels like a privilege for us to be part of the SimGrid here, because you're always guaranteed. You know when it's a night that you've got SimGrid commentary, you know it's going to be intense, and you know that you're going to leave absolutely exhausted from all of the action that's going on. So I hope that it's exactly the same for you guys watching on YouTube as well. If it is, hit that like and subscribe button as always. It's very, very much appreciated, and you can keep up to date with all of the amazing events that we do here at the SimGrid. But Alex, I mean, it's been a fantastic season. So much has come down to luck, but I mean, yeah, I didn't see any of this coming tonight at Suzuka.
All I have to say is the consistency wins a championship. 2 victories and 2 second places, despite the top the 2 finishes outside of the top 20. BMW Team G2 Esports have won it by a country mile, and it looks like there's going to be quite a few interviews and in there as well, I think.
Yep. So it looks like have a look is Zahir Essa and I believe that is also Raymond Mooney, so we'll bring them in for a quick chat. Congratulations then to the 7777 Racing Masterclass, Zahir Essa and Raymond Mooney. Brilliant effort, guys. 3rd place tonight, and that was a well-deserved 3rd place.
Thanks. It's about time, isn't it? If we're not tripping over ourselves during the season, just to drove a clean race as clean as possible, and got a good result.
So Raymond, we'll come to yourself first, because obviously you had the first stint. What was that start like, and did you think that 3rd place was going to be possible?
Not when everybody started driving away from me, no. We didn't have a lot of practice, so the setup was really sketchy. So the start, I was basically just holding on and trying to defend. So catching up to the guys towards the end of the stint was really the ideal scenario to get Zahir close enough for a podium.
And obviously when you handed things over to Zahir and you're watching that battle at the end, were you on voice chat trying to... what were you saying to him at the end there?
I told him that Arthur was going to... he was going to defecate himself and slide off anyway, so he didn't have to get too close, but it didn't happen.
Listen to
us Scots have got such a wonderful way with words, don't we? Zahir, I mean, obviously some different terms would have been used there, but you got the car in a fantastic position, but I mean, you did a heck of a lot of leapfrogging to get yourself up to that 3rd place. Talk us through that second stint of the race for yourself.
Yeah, so there was the guys were fighting up ahead when Ray was busy at the end of his stint, so we thought we'll just gamble with a very early pit stop and try jump them. But the car, as he said, the setup was so sketchy, we didn't have much time to sort it out. So the first couple laps were a bit too sketchy, and we didn't get the chance to jump them. And then at the end, it was just 10 minutes more on the tires, and the front tires were just dying. So got close, but not close enough. But it was still a very good battle. I really enjoyed that.
And obviously, with the championship over, are you guys going to be celebrating tonight?
Good point. I guess we would. It was just we didn't know what to expect from this race, so I guess it'll sink in after this.
Well, best of luck for the seasons coming up, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on board here with the Sim Grids, and look forward to seeing you again in the commentary booth in the future.
Thanks, guys.
So there we go, that was Raymond, Mooney and Zahir Essa, third place then for Sim Racing Masterclass in the 7.7 Ferrari. We'll go to your race winners next, because we want to leave the second place till last for obvious reasons. But in the 77, with a stunning drive, it's Jonas Salvlainen and Jesse Kalpinen. So we'll bring them in just now. But Jonas and Jesse, guys, congratulations on the race win. I mean, you made that look absolutely effortless.
Yeah, thank you. It feels really good, but it wasn't effortless, that's for sure.
Oh, I can only imagine. We'll actually come to yourself first then, Jonas, because you had the first stint in the car, an amazing qualifying lap, set yourself up in fantastic position. Was that something you were expecting? Did you know that you had the pace in that car?
Well, if we go back to Monday, I literally had no clue that I could do that kind of lap time in Suzuka. I couldn't get myself... Even to get a clear lap on Suzuka was hard on Monday. But then we just grinded, and the setup got better and the driving got better, and today it felt pretty good. I could consistently go 57s.
Now, within lap 5, you had, what was it, a 3-4 second gap over second place. Was it at that point you realised, hang on, we've got a really good shot at this?
Well, after first corner, I thought that we had really good chance of doing this, because my strategy in first corner was to little bit or use all the road, so Naujux doesn't have a good exit from turn 1. Because I've driven race in Suzuka, and that if you leave too much room for the guy on second place, he will come to the inside in the third corner, and yeah, then you have to just battle out through the slaloms and so on. So my tactic worked. Novakovsky got behind me in front of Naujux, and yeah, then I was like, okay, it seemed like Novakovsky was losing time to me consistently, and yeah, I just drove as fast as I could.
So Jesse Kalpinen, you take the second stint, you take over the car from your teammate there. How much pressure did you feel? Because obviously you're out in the lead, you've got a commanding lead. It must be quite difficult.
Yeah, not too much pressure. Jonas did amazing work stint, so there was like 14 or 15 second lead. So I could basically drive however I wanted. So yeah, easy, I'd say.
And obviously, when you got into that car, you were out by yourself. You didn't have anybody around you. For all the other drivers that are there, what's that like? How easy is it to keep your concentration when you don't have anybody challenging you?
It can be hard. I noticed actually that because I started saving and driving a bit slower, so I don't get any warnings or goods or anything. And I noticed that I make much more mistakes actually, so it kinda shot me in the knee, in a sense.
And finally, to both of you, Jesse and Jonas, that win slingshots you up into P2 in the championship. So my question is, who's buying the beers tonight?
Jesse is buying.
Okay, I can, yeah. Awesome.
Straight in there, Jesse, you're footing the bill, my friend. Guys, congratulations, you made that look so easy. Obviously it wasn't, but an amazing drive from you two. Congratulations. I've got quite a lot of support in the YouTube chat. Do you have anybody you want to say hello to?
Well, to the Gripax guys, obviously, thanks for trusting in us and taking us into the team, and thanks for you guys in the commentator booth for hosting such a good event and all this. Everything works perfectly. Stewards are amazing. Everything is amazing. Thank you.
Excellent stuff, guys. Congratulations then. That is Jesse Kalpanen and, of course, the one and only Jonas Salvalainen in the 77 Gripax Engineering, your race winners. But the time has come. It's the big bad beamer. Let's bring in your season champions, Niles Noyox then and Artur Kammerer into the booth. An amazing effort for the number 62. Guys, congratulations, champions. How does that feel?
I think we're missing one of our newest and also contributing members, Gregor Schill. First, there you go.
That's a rookie error on my behalf. Sorry about that. Gregor, welcome to the party. You get to pop the champagne as well, buddy.
I almost took that personal, man.
We're literally sitting off air going, don't bring him in, don't bring him in. It's fine. Right. So obviously it's been a huge season for you. You've been underdogs in that BMW. Niles, we're going to come to yourself, obviously, because you took that first stint there. I mean, literally, at lap 1, with the demise of the number 16 team, how was the strategy for yourself? Because I was thinking you guys are just going to play it safe, but you were determined to have a go tonight.
Yeah, I mean, so first we were surprised by our qualifying pace. With the 30 kilos, we expected to be a little more behind, but yeah, somehow we dialed the car in nicely and could cope with it, which put us in a really good spot. And of course, we made our calculations points-wise before the race, and we had the table ready to put in the positions of all the other cars, so we would know how the live points would look. And then, yeah, by the time we were second at the start of the grid, we knew there must be a lot of things going wrong. So from there, I mean, didn't plan to lose the position at the start, but yeah, you might have seen that I gave in a little more easy with the McLaren there in turn 2, because there was really no point risking anything. And then, yeah, we definitely had a pace advantage over him. But yeah, we couldn't ever really make a passing attempt stick, and I always left a bit of a. I mean, I think we rubbed once in T1, but I think it was calculated enough. There was never really a full cent or something. So yeah, just trying to use like 90% of the risk or so, but never, never a chance to spin or something, I think.
Oh, Nils, we saw a lot of things here in the commentary box, but what we didn't see is you giving it easy to that McLaren, because that 25 carbon sim sport of Mikhail Novikowski, I mean, he is going to be having PTSD from having that BMW behind him so much. But it's something that myself and Alex were talking about in the commentary booth. How difficult, as a very, very competitive sim racer, is it for that whole idea of, you know, risk management to not absolutely send it? How easy is it to take your foot off?
I think the biggest risk is that once you start slowing down a bit, even if it's just a tenth or two, then you run the risk. There's a couple places on the track where you need to be committed. Else you run the risk of clipping a curb in a weird way, the car bottoms out or something, and then you actually spin from taking it more easy. So you kind of have to dial the risk only slightly down, but make sure you like push in the places where the car really needs it to be stable. So it's not difficult to hold yourself back when the championship is on the line. We didn't give anything about winning the race here, and I think against Jonas, we really didn't have a chance as well with his teammate, because the car was just quicker than us today. And anything in a podium or even top 10 would have been fine for us. So it wasn't too hard to slow down that tiny bit.
And obviously, finally for yourself, Nils, XL Racing by Renvelt and that number 16 car were your main championship rivals just now. How big was that sigh of relief when you saw them tumbling down the order on lap 1?
I didn't really see that, but I think their qualifying wasn't great either. And I think they didn't really pop onto our radar until they were suddenly second in the championship. They had decent average results, but they never really like shined or so. So they weren't really on our radar up until this round, and suddenly became a threat for the championship. And we knew they they should have gotten a bit of weight in the car as well, in the Ferrari. So I think we were on the safe side, knowing that the gap between the two cars, and especially how many cars had to be between us, was very big. So we were confident we could make it today. So was all about damage limitation, or not damage limitation. Was about not doing the errors, of course. So then we were in a safe spot.
So the next part of the puzzle, then we move to Arthur Kammerer. The pit stop comes in, and Niles hands over the car to you in a very, very good position in second place. Arthur, talk us through that second half of the race.
Honestly, there's not much to talk about. I was just trying to go basically as slow as I comfortably can. Neil spoke about it. There's a few places where you have to stay committed in order to not make any mistakes, but on the rest of the track, I just try to minimize risk, not go as fast. I think my fastest lap was even half a second slower than Neil's fastest one. This just shows I was just not risking it anymore.
You're going to have to help me out, guys. I'm trying to make this sound dramatic and exciting here, but look, in all seriousness though, Arthur, there was a lot on the line. You must have had quite a bit of pressure there.
I have to say I got pretty hot, which I didn't expect it. But I mean, other than that, it was our race to lose, so I just made sure we didn't.
Now, Gregor, obviously we don't have you in the driving lineup, so tell us about the impact that you've had this season on G2 Esports.
Yeah, I mean, like from the start of the season, it was clear that like me and Arthur will basically swap during the race. So one race will Arthur do, then I will do the next one, and basically start like Arthur doing the first one. Then I had in the first race, which I did, I had like the 35 kilos or so in Misano, and then the next race Arthur was doing again, so without ballast, and then I had again ballast, so it was a little bit difficult to cope with the ballast, but overall it was like a really nice experience with the car. We had like really good, teamwork with the setups and stuff, and then when basically Arthur was driving, I was every time in the background doing like thinking about the strategy and stuff, like last race at Zolda with the wet and dry tires, for example. And yeah, I think at the end it was like an amazing team effort, this championship. So really happy to basically back-to-back win the championship. Like the season 2, I won with Ulti back in the Ferrari with a really good car back then in terms of BOP, and now basically in the underdog car with Niels and Arthur to get like again the championship win. Feels amazing.
It was a fantastic effort, and obviously we asked Gripax Engineering who's buying the beers tonight. In the case for you three, who's going to be footing the bill for the champagne tonight?
Honestly, I'll probably go
the silence. I was about to say the silence says everything.
Already
Arthur, you're jumping on that.
My alarm goes at 5. I don't know about you.
This, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it here behind the scenes of the super sexy worlds of sim racing, where we party all night. But guys, it's been an absolute pleasure seeing you all season. A hearty congratulations on behalf of myself and Alex and everyone here at the Sim Grid. Very well deserved championship win for Sprint Cup Season 3 for BMW Team G2 Esports. Have a fantastic night, guys. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you very much for organizing it.
Bye-bye.
Wow, Alex, there we go. Arthur Kammerer, Niles Noyox and Gregor Schill there. Worthy championship winners. Your final thoughts on the season?
When's season 4 going to be happening? That's what I want to know. This has been absolutely brilliant. 6 really fantastic tracks. The championship not decided right up until the final race here at the Suzuka International Racing Course, originally known as Matsusaka a little while ago as well. But yeah, just the quality, the calibre of the field. We had brilliant bumper-to-bumper, door-to-door racing all season long. And it's just, it's been a real pleasure being a part of the commentary duo alongside yourself as always, David. But for those wondering what's coming up next here on SimGrid, well, you haven't got to wait long, because more female racers by Thrustmaster Rockets returns this, Well, I think it's basically going to be coming up very, very soon indeed, because we've got, which is going to be this coming Monday, and it's going to be at Spa-Francorchamps. We've got the return of the German Cup at the Nürburgring in a week's time, where are we going to see that Porsche defending its German Cup title at the Nürburgring? And then we have the second round of the Endurance Cup Season 3 by Thrustmaster, the 6 hours of Monza. Don't forget that sign-ups for the Kyalami series is now officially open. It opened at about 5 o'clock this evening, Central European summertime. Don't forget, you can also go to one of our sponsors, our backers as always, Coach Dave Academy, for your track maps, your Assetto Corsa Competizione setups, your sim coaching as well, so you can be coached by the likes of the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Dave Perel, Jordan Pepper and Nick Foster. And if you fancy some new equipment, why not head to Thrustmaster? Maybe get yourself a Pro Controller, maybe even like David has done, a T300 RS, which I know is getting plenty of use whenever you get the opportunity, David. But yeah, I mean, worthy winners by Niles, Arthur and Gregor over at BMW Team G2 Esports. And, you know, just looking forward to what comes next, but there's still plenty to come. We've still got round 3 of the SimGrid VCO World Cup, the 12 Hours of Donington next month. There's still plenty to come. The action's non-stop, so don't forget to find us on thesimgrid.com and follow us on all the relevant social media channels.
Absolutely. All that's left then is for me to say a huge thank you to Alex Goldschmidt for joining me here in the commentary booth. I've been David Christie. As the dust settles here at Suzuka, the champions have been crowned. The BMW M6 GT3 of the number 62 BMW Team G2 Esports thought to come into this as a close fight, held it off and had it done by lap 1. Huge thank you to our production team behind the scenes, as always, Michael Hamlet, and our broadcast director of Mike Yao. A huge thank you to all of you at home watching on YouTube. As always, like and subscribe. We'll see you next time. Have a wonderful night and we'll see you on Monday.
Thank you.